This is the North End. This is the North End.
Welcome to the North End Podcast. I am here with Mr. Brian Daigle, and we've got obviously some of the crew is sitting in the back end here. I've got Mr. JP California. I've got Azaz from the Cultures, and of course I've got Luke. It's been ages from the North End. He's joined us. Paul is having some technical difficulties, so we're just going to kick off without him. He will be joining us.
Fuck Paul.
Yeah, fuck him for
That's
now.
what I say.
That's how we say. That's how we start the North End. We swear immediately, so nothing matters after that. Luke, good to see you, buddy. I don't know where you are. You are living in another. Who knows what universe you're in at the moment?
Are you in China? I feel like you're in China.
Good to see you again. I feel like you're back home in England. It feels like that in your background. But tell us how you doing, man.
I'd love to, but what the fuck did Brian Daigle just drink? How was that?
Mate,
It's fucking cream soda, man.
It's weird. Pink cream soda. See, Luke knows it's white back.
It's like 4. Yeah, I know. I've got no cream soda. Why are you drinking 4 liters?
Yeah, Canadian medium or what?
And because I can.
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
doesn't
fair
drink
play. No,
alcohol either. So it's it's a replacement.
That's good. No, I'm good, boys. It's fantastic. I've been missing it a lot. It's very hard when I'm living out of a bag and moving countries as if I'm an asylum seeker. So it's a bit of a crazy one, but I'm here and I'm having a great time and I'm looking forward to a good chat.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's good to see you. It's been ages. Zaz, wonderful to see you, mate. How's your summer going so far? You've been touring around a little bit yourself as well, but you're back in TO. How's things?
Yeah, mate, not bad. Desperately missing the football, like I think we all are. It sounds all good when the season's ending. You're like, oh, I need a bit of a break.
A bit of a relief, and then you miss it.
Yeah, and then particularly when there's no tournaments in the summer, just desperate for it to come back. So anyway, Community Shield in 12 days now, something like that. So we're almost there.
Yeah, because the weekend before, right? So the weekend of the first
12 days. Yeah.
You boys are
Nice.
big fans, Brian, and quickly, sorry, Brian. Are you guys watching your pre-seasons? Because I know some of the Villa boys are, and I would rather shoot myself than get up at.
Oh, we love it. We love it. Well, our preseason's been brilliant. We'll get into it a little bit, but our preseason's been great. We did a Korea trip with Sonny and Conte. The fans love them.
Yeah.
It's been a ton of fun for us, and of course, because we've been signing all these players, getting to see them play. Put the shirt on for the first time and see them play in a friendly, even if it is a friendly, which actually the last game wasn't against Sevilla, was not friendly at all.
It was aggressive.
It was very intense, but ton of fun. I want to quickly say hi to JP California. I know that, hey, buddy, good to see you. I know that you're sweating it out over there in California. I was there a couple weeks back. Brilliant.
Everyone's saying
weather.
England's like melting and they're freaking out because it's 40 Celsius, but it's like 40 Celsius for us for like 6 weeks straight.
I know, but you always brag about your weather, and then now you're whinging about it.
I just hate it when it's that hot. I don't
officially
love the heat that much. I love when it's beautiful out, 65, 70, 80 degrees. As soon as it gets past 90 degrees, I'm a fucking snail melting on the ground. I hate it. I really do. So
you're suffering in your garage at the moment, trying to get through the day.
Yeah, it's a quick 25-minute drive down to the beach for me, so I do that quite often. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I was in California, like I said, a few weeks back, and the weather, I got there, and I think I mentioned it to you, we chatted a bit. The weather was the perfect weather that you get, like perfect California weather. Like in the morning, you get up, it's like 70 degrees, 65, 70 degrees. It's overcast coming off the beach, and at about 10 a.m., 11 a.m., the overcast goes away, the sun comes out, and it goes up to about, Celsius, about 27, 28, 70, 75 Fahrenheit, and absolutely perfect. The entire time I was there. As soon as I left, bam, you guys got hit with a massive heat.
It's been 2 weeks now of just brutal heat. So you made the perfect trip.
The timing was impeccable.
I mean, Luke had a good time too.
Luke, you want
UK. The UK is currently today and yesterday. Today was the highest temperature the UK has ever had, and it was in certain areas like 40.3 Celsius. I think, like in Birmingham, we had 37.
JP,
but it was the same humidity.
They don't have air conditioning in the UK.
It's not a thing. Take that into account. That does.
It's not a thing.
Honestly, mate,
we've got Southern California.
It's soupy as fuck. That's all I'm saying.
We've got a fan in my room. I when I come back, I share a room with my brother, and there's a fan, and you just like I was sleeping. All you hear is this pathetic. Like we don't have an actual egg, and I'm just like. Oh fuck, kill me.
Luke,
Come
I know
on,
you have a
like-
very specific set of skills, like to do with TV shows and commentating and stuff like that. But man, if you want to get a job in the United States, just become an AC worker.
AC
You
specialist
would
would
make
be good.
grips of money and work everywhere. And on occasion where ACs are broken, you'd probably be working at a house and see some girl walking around in her underwear because it's too hot and they're waiting for you to fix the AC.
Perfect for
So-
Luke. Perfect for you, buddy. It's
It is
fantastic.
a win-win.
Well, lads, we've talked enough about AC and the weather. Let's talk about some football. This is a transfer show, so we're going to talk about transfers so far. Of course, it is so far. I just wanted to make this statement for Paul's sake, because it is. We
just gonna
understand
say.
the window is not over yet. There's a lot to be done. Paul is trying to be with us still. He looks frozen even in our waiting room down at the bottom. So I'm not sure whether he'll join us or not. But I was hoping to have a United supporter to at least talk about their window so far and have a little bit of a sense of like what's gone on and whether they're, because we've had, Brian wouldn't know this, but we've had some discussions on our WhatsApp in regards to
It's very
window so far.
convenient that they are not here for
Yeah, no
this
Paul and no
show
Connie. Imagine that. What happened?
after we've been discussing United and their
Lack of
interesting
activity.
summer. And they just, they've been talking back and forth, arguing. I'm sure his Wi-Fi will get fixed once he hears me talking about this.
Yeah, all of a sudden they'll come on and start
but,
yelling at you, JP, for sure.
It'll be really fun to degrade United without them.
Which is fun. I mean, it's always fun to degrade United. Let's just be honest about it. Generally speaking, it's a blast, and we've all enjoyed it. But let's get into the team. Paul has set this up, so I'm just going to go through the order that exists so far, and we'll see what we got. That's to support the channel. So make sure that you do subscribe, like the channel. It helps us. Obviously, it helps the algorithm. So we appreciate your support. Get in there and smash that like and subscribe button. And then, of course, we're going to start with rumored positions for Arsenal so far. This is Tielemans and help me out, Brian.
Not a Scooby.
Yeah. Not what is
I've got not an idea. What it is. Not a Scooby Doo.
All right, so this is something that Paul brought in. I'm not sure who that other player is. There it looks like though he's an Italian player.
It's Juventus.
Juventus. I'm not quite sure who the player is, but making us look real good here, Paul. From a rumor perspective, Tielemans. I think any team would take Tielemans in their side as a depth player, and he's quality. He's done very well.
What do we think his rumored price is?
Arthur. That's Arthur, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Arthur. Appreciate that, Luke. If we end up in that scenario again, please run that in the background, where I don't know who the player is. Appreciate it. But Tielemans, I don't know. I would imagine probably around 40-50 million. Anybody know his value?
35.
Yeah. Luke, any idea what Tielemans' value is?
I believe you're bang on about 35 million, and I think it's pretty spot on. It's considering what you apparently have bid for or going to bid for Madison. But yeah, I think that's a good.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's got left on his contract, but I'm pretty sure it's running down. And
He's got 1 year. Apparently, Leicester.
1 year.
He's got the option for another that Leicester can whack on that loads of other people have, and they have that option for an extra year.
Right, and
So
that's where
the caveat if they
gets in the way of it getting done. Right.
But the problem is Arsenal didn't get that top 4 spot. If you were Tielemans, would you want a team outside the Champions League, or would you wait for potentially maybe a Chelsea to niggle a little bit? Would you look for a Man City or a Tottenham to just?
He's never going to Man City. There's no way
he could go to any top team in Europe. So I mean, I know Arsenal really want him, but missing out on that Champions League to Tottenham was kind of a big deal for them, and
it was wonderful, JP. It was wonderful.
I'm sure you are still erect from that moment. I don't know. I feel like Tielemans could do better.
I think he could do better than Leicester. I think he could probably do better than Arsenal as well. I mean, Arsenal are obviously from last season better than Leicester, but yeah, I mean, he is a good player. I know, Brad. Would you take him at Spurs?
Not now.
Not now.
Not now.
Not now with what we've got.
Not now with Basuma.
But before the window, you would have potentially considered. I think we spoke about it a bit.
For the first couple of years, he was Leicester 100%.
He's been inconsistent though, isn't he?
Last season, he was not at his best at all.
Yeah.
He was not at his
So hang
best.
on.
It was a real downfall for him. So, based on his first 2 seasons, yes. Last season, no.
Azaz, you got something you want to add, mate?
So Are you saying that you've bought Basuma? So it's not really a question, but are we saying that Basuma's better than Tielemans?
Yeah.
Are
Oh
we
yeah.
saying that?
They're different
Well,
players.
100%.
Of
different
course, they're
players.
different players. But if you
Statistically,
could just-
like way better, but they do play different positions. But statistically, way better, and we have enough in.
God damn, Luke.
We have enough in our
Oh, it says
midfield that we won't. We like Tielemans doesn't add
Go
to
for
what
it.
we've already got in the
Yeah,
5 players
fair
we
enough.
have in midfield at the moment.
I,
So
I would have taken
Fair
Basuma
enough.
over Tielemans as well.
yeah,
You would?
I think he's just a better
I-
player.
I
For us.
don't think
Luke, go ahead.
Tielemans offers a whole lot outside of Arsenal. I don't. You said you all just said Brian. You said I think he's better. I don't. I actually think there's been a lot of people talking about how great he is, and he's a good player. There's no denying he's a good player. But do I see him at City? No. Do I see him at Liverpool? No. Do I see him at Tottenham, especially now? No. Do I see him at who else is up there? Chelsea? No. I don't. So then you start dropping down, and Arsenal is probably around that 5-6 kind of battle now.
And they're kind of
with
at the
the
same level, I would say, as Leicester. Like, despite Leicester finishing, they had a pretty rough season last season, but a lot of injuries and a lot of reasons for it. Arsenal and Leicester are similar levels, I think.
Yeah,
as far as where
but there's a lot
they'll
more
probably
money.
finish next season.
There's a lot more money at Arsenal. Remember,
Oh, I agree.
Arsenal is a team that to get a season ticket at Arsenal, you gotta hope someone dies and then you get something. Leicester have
it's
only
expensive.
become anything since that freakish year where they won the league. Remember,
They have a lot of
I'm
money,
from
though.
Birmingham. I tell you,
They're
no,
not-
but
Leicester don't need the money. They can demand fees, but Arsenal will pay more.
Yeah,
Arsenal
they'll pay more. They'll pay more
Aubameyang,
salary.
you've seen
Exactly.
Ozil,
yeah.
And Ketier's just gone for 100 grand a week. And
Exactly.
so Arsenal will pay it.
Yeah.
Leicester have done it structurally, and they won't give Basuma. They wish they won't give Tielemans the money that Arsenal will give them. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a good point for sure. Okay, so this other player here, Luke, did you get a chance to take a quick peek at him at all? The Juventus player that Paul's put up here, and this is rumored to Arsenal.
I know his name is Arthur. I know that's a peculiar name for a guy.
His eyes know something.
And I know a little about him. He just didn't look like Arthur. That's why I was like, when Luke said Arthur,
No,
I
it's
was
a
like,
weird one.
yeah, it is. It is.
It's an odd pick.
Arthur's one of those guys where I don't even necessarily think he fits in the Premier League, to be honest. He's like a La Liga kind of player. I think they did a swap deal with
Barca,
Pjanic
right?
at the time. Yeah, Barca and Juve. Yeah, I mean, like technically very good player, Brazilian international, but like I think he'd just get run out of the Premier League, in my opinion. Arsenal have had these players over the years. Some of them are stuck. Some of them have been world class, like Fabregas. Others, like you've had like the odd Denilson, and these people have come in and gone. I mean, if I was an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't particularly be. I would take Tielemans personally as an Arsenal fan,
100%.
because he's better than what they've got. I agree with Luke. I'm not sure he gets into the 4 teams above. But the Arthur one, I wouldn't really care
Throwaway.
about
Yeah,
if I was.
totally
it's just
agree.
total throwaway.
No
Totally agree.
rating there. Luke, anything to add, Luke?
No, I think it's absolutely spot on. I think Tielemans will do a job at Arsenal, and I think Tielemans isn't going to get top 4 football, right? But I think Tielemans is still a fantastic player that adds serious benefit to the Arsenal squad, and potentially will get them challenging for top 4. So although he doesn't make a top 4 team, he can add enough that maybe can push Arsenal over that gap. But Arthur is exactly as I said. He's been floating in that weird space for a couple of years, and he's been around. People have been rumored, but like if you're
He's
rumored with a
average,
player
kind of La Liga player that perfect
he's
for
good.
Arsenal.
He's okay. He's okay. But is he going to come to the Premier League and change Arsenal? No. Is Tielemans going to change Arsenal? I think positively, yes. So I think
he
I
improves
totally agree.
He improves them, right?
100%.
Tielemans improve them. Arthur doesn't, essentially. All right. Well, we've talked about that club enough. Let's move on to the next one.
Wow,
we've got Chelsea here. We've got some outs and some ins here. Obviously, it looks as though I think the outs are Ziyech is definitely going to be gone. Azpilicueta is definitely going to be gone. What's his name?
Marco Alonso.
Alonso, thank you. Alonso is gone as well. Who they're bringing in here? Aki, Ronaldo, Kunde, and
I don't know if they're going to be getting Ake anymore since they've They've signed. Who was that center back they signed?
Koulibaly.
Koulibaly, and then they're going for Koundé, and they were looking for 2, and they still have a really good youth center back in their books as well. So I don't know.
Well, I think
if
Ake has
Ake's gonna be
committed his
moving.
future to. I think City have said they're going to keep Ake now. I think this kind of fell through, and they were just like, "No, you know what? We want him as a rotation player."
Yeah.
I think they're happy to keep him, and I'm, you know, I don't want to breeze over it, but Koulibaly is a big signing.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether it's 3 years too late.
I was just going to
Because
say, was the big signing, Luke? Because we talked about on this channel. We talked about Koulibaly on this channel like 3 years ago, and he was a player that everybody wanted. And holy crap, this guy's going to be
the number
amazing.
one defender in the world, probably
and that was 3 years ago.
above Van Dijk. Like he was the guy.
Okay.
All I will say is, oh well, no. At the time,
that is politely interrupted.
At the time, he was.
We'll come on to it, I'm sure. But like, we've played Napoli 4 times over the last couple of years. He's very good. I mean, this doesn't mean much, obviously, because he scores against everyone. But like, I think Salah scored in 3 of the matches on his side. So Koulibaly's a brilliant defender.
Is he too
I don't even
slow
know why
now?
I'm going there because but I was just going to say he's a brilliant defender. I think the thing with Serie A is it's still a Premier League for defenders. The problem is the physicality of the forwards in the Premier League. Like, they're not going to be phased by his size, and I think he's lost a yard of pace. We'll see.
And he's also going to be playing next to Thiago Silva, who, I mean,
I don't think he will. I think
is that your center back
rotation
this year? You're going to have 3 probably. So, but still, it does seem to me like they need way more based on what we've seen so far from Chelsea. They've started to make moves though, and I think that it bodes well for them to some extent for this transfer window if they can get the deals done that they need. I think Ake is a step down from. I mean, he was barely getting into City's side.
Yeah, didn't rate that. They've got a couple of good players. Remember, they got Chaloba, who played quite a lot last year. I'm just looking at defenders. They've got Malang Sarr, like he's a half decent defender. Emerson, we totally forget. Emerson's even still at
defenders at a club that's supposed to be challenging is not what Chelsea need right now. They need to replace some of the best defenders that they've had that have been in the Premier League in the last 5 years or so. With that lot that's there. I mean, it's a big ask, I think.
Well, the thing for me is
Silva starts.
Their new ownership is really what up, Bobby? The new ownership is run by the guy who owns the Dodgers, Todd Boehly. I think I'm saying his name right. And it really appears that he is pushing this narrative of signing players with a slightly bigger name set to him. You know, if this guy wasn't the new owner of Chelsea, I don't think Cristiano's in the mix at all. But there's rumors of this because he's one of the biggest names in the world. And when you look down this list, what is that? Marquinhos in the front?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, these are some of the biggest names for defenders in the world. So they are going for the biggest, even if they're not in their prime or if they're on the back end of their prime quite a bit, which, as we know when we look at United, doesn't work out great.
It can and it can. It depends on what the system is
it
and
can
whether
work out okay. I mean, they did get Thiago Silva, and he did really well in that first year.
Yeah.
But how much more does Thiago Silva have? 1 more year, maybe?
What do you guys think about
37, isn't he? He's crazy.
What do you think about the? I mean, Sterling's gotten over the line, as we know, and Ziyech is looking like he's gone. What do you think about the Chelsea's forward line? Have they improved enough? Are they going to? Are they going to find goals somewhere? Are they going to find goals where they've struggled to score goals? Right. So,
do we want to go to the next slide? Isn't that what the deals that they have done?
Yeah, let's check it out. Yeah,
there we go.
Thank you, JP.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, Lukaku. Let's not forget. Yeah, let's not forget. Lukaku is now the most valuable player of all time, and nobody's going to beat that. The amount of money that Lukaku has acquired from transfer fees in and out of clubs for his actual return. If you look at his Premier League return, you would literally laugh. And he has gone for, I think, is it something like 170, 180 million between United and Chelsea? And that's in those two teams. And it is frightening frightening how bad. But they're like they are. Chelsea needs some big names. Like losing Rudiger on a free is a big loss.
Big loss.
Christensen, big rotation player on a free as well, gone.
Well-
and it's just like I don't know who's that third guy. I don't even know who that is. Anyone know who
I'm
that
not
is?
sure either, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Some
this is
dude.
going
Generic
splendidly.
midfielder.
Tells you everything about him, though. I
Yeah.
mean, like it wasn't obviously not an
Versus-
important
yeah.
player. What do you? So we're talking about their ins, right? We've got Sterling in here. We've got Gallagher coming back off a loan from Palace.
Koulibaly,
Koulibaly in, and then
Borja.
Broja.
Roja. Yeah, thank
Broja.
you.
who's
Borja.
a 20-year-old
Gallagher.
striker who played last season at Southampton. I think he had somewhere in between of 8 and 10 goals.
He was
did
good.
okay.
He was very good.
He's a handful.
He's
He's a
going to
beast.
West Ham.
But he has
He is
already agreed personal terms with West Ham for a move of 30 to 35 million that Chelsea is sitting on. Yeah, that was broken by The Athletic about 4 days ago.
Right. So this Broja thing ins is a
Ins might be into the outs pretty soon here.
not so likely.
And,
So
and
if you're
even
looking at the ins there, though, like you've got Sterling, you've got Koulibaly, and you've got Gallagher. I mean, Gallagher, I think, is a great midfielder to come back into that team. As much as I dislike Chelsea, he will be very good in a Chelsea side.
There's a lot of rumors about him potentially going out as well.
He's
with
going
Villa-
nowhere, man.
With
He's going
Villa being
nowhere.
linked quite a bit. I don't see it, but
It'd be crazy
his are
to get rid of him.
rumors.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's already said he wants to prove himself, and I'm gonna mark him. One of my players to watch this season is the desire that lad has to succeed, and like they want him gone. They like for a good part of this transfer window already, they were considering loan offers. They 100% were, and he's basically said, absolutely not. I am not going anywhere. I'm good enough to be here, and I'm going to show you. And you
Let
see
me
what I
earn
did
it,
at Crystal Palace. I'm going to do that here, and I'm going to become a talisman. I'm going to be the next Lampard, or I'm going to be in his head. That's how he thinks. And I really like Gallagher. I really think he's got that desire, and they need that in the middle. Someone who's just tenacious.
Yeah, the work rate's nuts. I mean, in every game he played, he was always the hardest worker on the pitch, and arguably the best player at the same time. He's also got a skill set. You know, he's good on the ball. He's not useless when it comes. It's not just work hard and he gets a job done. It's he's a good player, and he's got a good shot on him too. So yeah, I still think Chelsea need to do a lot more though, guys. I mean,
oh my God, 100%. They
go ahead, Azaz, tell us how you feel.
Yeah, they finished. Okay, so they finished third. And look at the ins and outs. So Lukaku was meant to be their star striker last year. So was he meant to be the guy that took them from like third to second or fifth? Didn't work out, but that's what he represents. So you're getting someone who's maybe even more wasteful than him. Raheem Sterling's a good player. There's no question about that. He runs in between the lines, can beat a man, still pacey.
Does he add goals?
One of the most wasteful. So imagine Werner and Raheem Sterling are teamed up to finish something. Like,
that was my first thought. My first thought was bringing a player like Sterling in was you're getting the same type of player you already have. You have Ziyech, you have Pulisic, you have Lukaku. You have all of these players who have the same profile. Timo Werner, they all struggle to score. They're all really good on the ball. They all create a bunch of stuff. They get themselves into the final third, and then their last opportunity they shit the bed. That's Raheem Sterling. He had 1.5 really good seasons where he finished regularly for Manchester City, and it was very good. But since then, he's fallen back to the sort of inconsistent player that he was before. So I don't think they've addressed the lack of goals that they've had last season, and I think they're going to have even less with some of the other players going out.
You do know they have a buyback clause for one of the most informed strikers in Europe, in Tammy Abraham.
Yeah,
but it's in form in Serie A. And
true.
That Lukaku, that means absolutely.
But even in the EPL, on a bad season, what did he get? 12 goals, 15 goals?
I know, but that's still not enough for a team that wants to finish in
He's
the.
not good enough. I'm sorry. I like Villa fans sometimes chirp up, oh, we should have kept Abraham. He's not good enough for the Premier League. Abraham will never be a Premier League striker.
I think he's a solid Premier League striker.
He'd be a backup Premier League striker, not
he's a backup. He doesn't finish enough. Is he as good as a Suarez? Is he as good as an I'm talking legendary, but is he? But is he going to bag 15 goals a season at least?
It needs to be 20 plus if you're going to try to challenge.
Yeah, He's not good enough. He's not good enough to be that talisman, and I like him. And best of luck with it, with Serie A, and fair play to him. But he is not good enough. And I think there will be movement for Chelsea. I think Chelsea know they need a big striker. Sterling is a phenomenal support, and do not sleep on Sterling. I'm sorry, like
No,
people
no.
love to crap all
We're
over
sleeping
Sterling.
on
He's
him,
so
but
fantastic.
he is much of what they already have.
I'm talking about like if you play for Man City, you get 3-4 chances a match. Like and that's his goal return. Like like you're not gonna. So Tuchel
Sense.
funny, like I've read recently Tuchel being called coward ball. Like Tuchel isn't the guy who's his teams are not gonna make the kind of chances Man City did. So I would expect Sterling's goal return to be even less, not more. Like I think he'll play more, but like Man City makes so many chances
created will be
but
less.
but I think you're wrong on that, and I think what you've said is right. I think he will return less, but what he will return will be far more beneficial for Chelsea.
Sure.
So last season he played 30 games, he got 13 goals, 5 assists, right? And so if you think of what Lukaku had on his side, he had a Ziyech who didn't really perform. He had Timo Werner, who we know can't finish to save his life. God bless him, I love him, but he can't finish. So if you had Timo Werner getting 7 or 8 goals, I'm not sure if that's accurate, but I have a feeling he's
around
probably
there,
around that. And you add an extra 4 or 5 goals and 2 or 3 more assists, the whole team as a whole, how many points does that pick you extra in the season? And I think that, like, you're not wrong. Sterling is not your number one striker, but he's never meant to be. He's meant to be a very rapid, very troublesome part of a front three.
He's meant to be a Timo Werner or a Ziyech, which is essentially what I'm saying. He's another version of what they already have.
He is. But Ziyech will be at the door. Werner will be, if he's lucky, get one more season. And if he doesn't show, he's gone as well. But they will be, there has to be another strike. There has to be a striker for Chelsea. And you can't get rid of Lukaku in such a horrendous form that they have and not bring in a striker. If they don't, it will be laughable. And they will struggle for sure.
For sure. Paul, do you want to bring up the next slate for us? Are you gonna run that in the background or I
think he may be able to join, I think he said.
What we got here? We've done that already. Have we done that one already?
Yes. No, of course.
No.
That's the next one. Okay, cool. So thanks, Paul. I'm not sure what happened, but something got taken out there. Paul's trying to join. He hopefully will get in with us. If not, we're going to just kind of run through this. We've got outs here. This is that looks like Alexander Lacazette. Was that when he came in back in the day? And then we're looking at their ins here. We've got obviously Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko's come in. I forget the gentleman's. I forget these 3 guys' names. So if you guys want to help out,
shit,
I'm forgetting as well. I recognize
the matter that much. Let's look at the big ones though. Let's look at the big players. We've got Zinchenko and Jay Zeus. How much does this change Arsenal's season with Jay Zeus and Zinchenko? I think Zinchenko is a very good signing.
I do too.
I think Jay Zeus is an average signing, but I think Zinchenko changes their left back position. I think Jay Zeus is much like we talked about Sterling in the last chat. He's not prolific. He doesn't score a ton of goals. He couldn't get into the first 11 even when they didn't have a striker. I call it a Spurs bias, but I think he's a bit overrated, and I don't think he's going to score as many goals as they think he's going to score. Having said that, I think he's better than what they had.
Yeah, so in the first 2, when you're talking about Jesus and Zinchenko, I think it's really funny from the perspective that Man City basically trolled Arsenal when they were trying to climb the league, right? So first season, they went and bought like the Gareth Barrys and the kind of Premier League, even James Milner, the kind of players that would get you into like the 6th place. And then after that, they were like, okay, how do we get into the top 4? Well, let's go pick from some of the top 4 teams, and obviously they took Nasri, Clichy, Adebayor. So I just think it's funny that in reverse
it's flipped.
But Arsenal are paying top money for their substitutes. I think they're stronger, by the way. I think Arsenal are stronger.
They've improved certainly, but by how much?
Yeah, they've improved, right? Is what I mean. Yeah, they're improved. They're a better squad. They're a better team. But at the same time, I just think it's really funny that on the way up, Man City took starting 11 players from Arsenal and took their spot in a way. And in reverse, 10 years later, 12 years later, I get the comfort with Arteta because obviously he knows Jesus
Yeah,
and
there's the knowledge of the
Zinchenko.
players. But
Yeah, of course. And like they've got their rapport with him. But I just think it's funny that they took two substitutes from, like, these two guys don't start. The third guy is Fabio Vieira.
Well, hold on.
Which I,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Zinchenko has got like 22 games in the EPL. Like he might not be the starter, but Fool got plenty of game time and definitely started in many of the big games as well. I don't think anybody should sleep on Zinchenko. They tried to replace him 3 or 4 times, and he constantly beat out the guys that they brought in. And he's a center mid cover. People don't really think about it, but for Ukraine, he plays in the center mid, and he is everything for Ukraine through the center mid.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a fabulous signing at the price point. He's only 25. And when they were looking at guys, who's the midget that Man United just got?
little person.
Yes. Sorry.
Is it me?
Who's turning off the
Oh, I wonder who. I mentioned United signing a short person, and of course he turns off the
Martinez
stuff. Yeah, Martin, right? Or Martinez.
Martinez.
Well, if Martinez is going for what, 65, 60 million, Zinchenko's half the price and plays in a lot of the same positions. Like, it's a no-brainer. I think Zinchenko is a great deal. Jesus maybe a little inflated, but I still see him doing a very Arsenal-style player job for them.
Don't get me wrong, JP. I definitely think Arsenal are stronger for these transfers.
Yeah.
What the point I was making was that in reverse, Man City took like starting players. Like I believe Nasri was Arsenal's player of the season when they took him. That's all I was saying. I definitely think Arsenal are stronger than last year. Don't think they'll crack the top 4 because I think from the top 3 is one thing, and then the kind of business Spurs have done, and we'll come on to them. But like, I definitely, looking at that, Arsenal are stronger than they were last year. I don't think there's any question. They're losing one guy, Lacazette, who was hit and miss. They replaced him with They replaced him with a new number 9 who, they'll give him the shirt, they'll give him the responsibility, and then after that, Zinchenko and definitely Vieira as well. We'll come on to Liverpool. We've decided Portugal's our breeding ground right now, and Vieira was very highly touted there. So I think Arsenal have done good business, and definitely not disrespecting Zinchenko. The point I was just making was that it's just so weird how that happened, where they're like, who plays for you? We'll take them, and then they're like, we'll take a couple of players off your bench.
Do you know what I have a feeling, and I could be at the end of next season, I could be incredibly wrong here. But the summer that Arsenal have had so far, some of the players that we missed there, you had Vieira, that was a great shout, highly touted. Zinchenko, very solid left back. Jesus, is he prolific enough? We're not sure, but he is still, an addition. Then you had Saliba, that was the other guy, and Saliba had a fantastic season in I think he was at Marseille. And then you had, I think Marquinhos was the guy at the far right. He's like a 19-year-old winger. I have a feeling, and I could be wrong, and I like Arteta, and they always said, Arteta was a real magician when he was working with Pep. People really raved at, like, tactician, like tactically he really knew what he was on about. I think potentially Arsenal could be the Moneyball of the Premier League. They could be the Moneyball side, the film about like the baseball, where they pick what specific parts are we missing and how do we add? Because they've sent a bit of money.
Nuts. That's Brentford.
It's not nuts.
Brentford's the Moneyball.
No, it's not Brent. No, because Brentford aren't going to do anything. The whole thing about Moneyball is they almost won the league.
The whole thing about Moneyball is
Arsenal are not going to come close to
make up.
Arsenal fell off. Arsenal fell off at the end of the season. They had a couple injuries. They fell off, but they were very we. Do you know why? Tore them apart. Hang on, we tore them apart at the start of the season, and then they hit an incredible run of form, and they were playing well. Now the positions they were weak in, they have backed up. They have good goalkeeping. They've got a strong back 4 now. They've got a pretty tactically driven midfield. And depending on how they line up up front, I don't know. And what they definitely had last season, they had a lot of
The
team
reason
spirit.
why I think it's problematic. I agree with all of those things when it comes to the improvement of Arsenal, and this is me not speaking from a Spurs perspective, but speaking from a team that played on a Thursday and a Sunday. They did not have any Europe last season. They played in one competition. They prepared one game a week. They now have Europa League and obviously the other cups, and they're playing Thursday and Sunday. This is a very young team that will struggle in that scenario. And of course, they're going to deal with injuries, and they don't have a ton of depth in a lot of those positions to manage that. That's the reason why they'll probably finish 6th or 7th. Not to say that they won't have the quality when they're humming, they'll be good. But when they get injuries, they'll be screwed. And when they play on Thursday and Sunday, they'll be even more screwed. Not playing in Europe and having one competition a week and still not getting in the top 4 when they were in the position to get that top 4 tells me everything about the squad that is the reason why they're not going to be remotely close to finishing in that position next season.
It will be very
Not
interesting.
nothing to do with my bias whatsoever. That's just based on what I've seen in the past from my own team being in that position.
It will be very interesting to me to see how the World Cup plays out for the club teams, because some of the biggest club teams will have every single player in their top 20 doing national team duty in the middle of their season, potentially getting season-long.
It's going to be wonky that one, man, for sure. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah,
like this could ruin Arsenal. This could ruin anybody in the top 6.
Yeah, it could ruin anybody. It could change. It could change the complete result of the entire.
I just thought about this, but we just signed Philip Coutinho, who could end up getting brilliant game time for Brazil. Breaks his leg in his final match, and
that's a bit dramatic.
We're fucked. I mean,
you shouldn't be relying on one player generally like that anyway. But yeah. All right. Well, we've talked a lot about Arsenal. Let's move on to our next. Let me just make sure that this is correct. We're on to Liverpool outs and ins. I'm going to let you sort of run with what we're looking at here. It looks like Paul's going to join us here. Paul, is things working for you?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Don't need to don't need to eat your mic, but that's better.
It's a bit weird.
I think it's better now. Wait, can you hear me here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not switching your mic.
We're just using your headphone mic, but that's fine. Just use it.
My headphones.
Well, I've started this one with Azaz in mind to discuss the outs and ins. You're welcome to take over from here because you've done all the slates and you know what's going on. But Azaz, you want to start with the what we're looking at here?
Yeah. So the outs, obviously, club legend, all-time club legend Sadio Mane has left. Obviously, I'll speak on that in a minute. Cult hero Divock Origi also gone. Taki Minamino, top scorer of both the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup in the same season. Kind of crazy considering he was the 7th choice for Liverpool. And then Nico Williams, who I actually rate as a footballer, period, but I'll briefly touch on him as well. So Sadio Mane leaving is devastating on many levels. He's the guy who started the Klopp revolution in regards to big name signings. He was the first big name signing. Him leaving just means that we've come full circle, and it's about time that we start to see these players leave, which is going to be sad for us.
Was he a big name signing? I mean, you got him from Southampton. I mean,
no, he was. No. He was for us. He was a big name signing.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
I don't You're gonna have to explain this to me because I know Liverpool fans have been talking about this guy for a long time. It's actually been a long time. I don't get it. He was good, maybe even great in the Championship, and that's not enough to be super excited. But every Liverpool fan is like, he's the second coming of Messi.
I think we're talking about Mane on the out at the moment still, are we not?
Oh, we're not talking about Carvalho yet, mate.
Oh, man. Somebody tell me about Carvalho then.
We'll get there. But we're actually talking about Mane on the out at the moment.
Because Mane was the second coming of Messi.
So
just join us, folks. Just deal with it.
The only thing I would say about Mane leaving is, other than in terms of it being potentially, I'll never say Sadio Mane leaving is a good thing, but just work with me here. The thing with Mane leaving is, for the better part of 2 seasons, he hasn't really shown up other than this last few months. So in these last few months, him personally, he was unplayable. He was on a high after winning the AFCON. He took his team to the World Cup qualification as well, and he was in this great vein of form. 18 months before that, he really wasn't all that. So I think that there was already this transition.
No. I'm sorry. I've listened to enough of this bullshit. I'm sorry. No, we're not going to allow a Liverpool fan to not pretend like you're absolutely crying yourself to sleep, because he was, and
I'm not,
still,
though.
and will always
I'm
remain.
not crying
he's a
myself
god.
to sleep,
He
though.
was
I would
fantastic.
if Salah left. I would if Salah left.
Salah's phenomenal. I get that, but I think Mane offers so much an all-rounded player. I think I just think you're wrong. I think to say, he wasn't performed for 18 months. He literally plays at 110% every game. Even if he's not scoring, he offers so much to a team. I know you're upset, and we are here for you, and I want to be here for you. And I love you, and you've got great hair, and you're
safe.
good-looking
It's
guy,
a safe
but
circle, bud.
No.
I'm going to agree with Azaz on this a little bit, because I watched Sadio Mane quite a bit, and I found that he dropped off. He wasn't as prolific as often as he was for those seasons where it was nonstop. There was drop off. There was time in between 4 or 5 games where he didn't go. He went without a goal, and he was missing stuff he would normally put away with his eyes closed. So I think there's something to be said about it. I'm not saying that they're not going to miss him. I think Liverpool are going to miss Sadio Mane. I think that'd be ridiculous to think that that's the case, but it's not as much of a miss if he's replaced properly with the right players. And now Luis Diaz is arguably a player that comes in and does that job for him. Now, he might not get it prolific at the same level
numbers,
Mm-hmm.
but he's offering a similar work rate. He's in the same position off the left side of the 3. And he's very good, and he's caused defenses a lot of problems. I don't think you're going to miss Mane as much. I think there's other issues in your team that you're probably more worried about than losing Sadio Mane, having brought in Luis Diaz, in my opinion.
What I would say on the just to address what Luke said, from season 2020 to 2021, and then the first half of 2022, I watch every game, every Liverpool match. I wasn't all in on Mane's performances. I wanted him to play. I wanted him to start. He's always a goal threat and stuff, but he wasn't the 18, 19, 17, 18 Mane. And he wasn't this Mane that we've just seen the last 6 months as well. So,
inconsistent.
You know what? But not when he got form again. When he found form, he was brilliant. It was a year and a half.
Could you not make the same argument of Harry Kane? Literally both seasons, and we call him out and we give him shit, and Brian goes, "Fuck you all. He's gonna come good," and guess what? He does. And I think, and listen, I don't actually think you're wrong. I just think it's a little unfair. I think
he's not our star player, though, right?
Okay, hang on.
We've got the PFA Player of the Year, the Football
Paul's
Writer of the Year.
Excited.
Get in there, Paul. Get in there, buddy.
The top scorer.
I don't want this to turn into the Mane debate. Mane is gone. It's like we're kind of
good. Move on.
Unpacking the significance. I'm just gonna ask now.
So let's get on to
the great person there.
Yeah.
Now with your team being the only team that has a real chance of catching Man City, in my opinion, I think shared by many. Have you guys had the summer transfer window where you are closer now? And I know it's early doors still, 6 weeks left, but are you guys closer now to Man City than you were at the end of last season before those players moved on and these new players came on? Like, are you guys making up ground in your opinion?
The 1 point swing, yes, only if Darwin Núñez settles in, because we've done this whole smaller front 3, every team other than Man City coming and parking the bus. We've done this for 2-3 years now. And there are matches that
we didn't park the bus against you. Piss off, mate.
Absolutely parked the bus.
No parking the bus. We played a counterattack.
You had you still park the bus, and
no, there's no bus parking.
You played really well. You played well, but you still parked the bus. Counterattack is parking the bus, though.
Not really.
It totally is.
No, it isn't.
Talented attacking players, and you park the bus. It's
all
good.
Parks the bus. Spurs play a counterattack. Totally different. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, so anyway, other than Manchester City, every other team that parks the bus, we end up hitting our head against the door multiple times. We've got 2 people on the fullbacks, but wing backs, I guess, who put in brilliant deliveries. And if we can just have something different to break down those doors, then we can be in the positive. We've got Diego Jota, who's already settled in, Luis Diaz, Mo Salah. So arguably Darwin Núñez doesn't even have to play all the time. We've already got an attacking three. Jota,
You should hope not, because he's
Okay.
terrible.
Okay, but so I mean, I'm gonna say this again because you are talking about catching up from a 1 point difference for a team that went off and got Eric Haaland and also has improved themselves. Like let's not treat it like a vacuum where you're not aware that they've also improved themselves, which we'll talk to that in a minute. But like genuinely, you again have there's a shelf life on Mo Salah being one of the best players, if not the best player in the world.
He won't be as good without Salah.
Are you guys doing enough in your mind to bridge the gap that currently exists or might even exist even further with Man City's improved team?
It's hard to say right now.
The answer is no, and you're frustrated by the lack of activity. You can say it. I know you're frustrated by the lack of activity. Just say no, but you expect more to come.
Yeah, I mean, I would take another midfielder, but in terms of, I'm repping Núñez. I'm in on Núñez. I don't care what he's done in the first 2 preseason games. I couldn't care less. I've seen it with Fernando Torres.
Yeah, what is with that, by the way? I can't. I've heard this kind of stuff, and it's weird. It's like I feel like you guys have got this. I don't know, you're under a microscope that you weren't usually under a microscope, where this kind of attention for a preseason performance. I'm not used to seeing this kind of stuff, but it's all of a sudden being applied to Liverpool, and I don't know why. He's played 2 friendlies and he hasn't played great. Who cares?
Nobody. I don't care.
No, but you know what I'm talking about. You're clearly making a point of defending him because people are attacking him right now.
Of course.
I don't understand why anybody would attack a player after 2 preseason games.
Yeah, but you're being sensible though, right?
It blows my mind.
People, there's a lot of people trolling.
Because it's fun.
Yeah, sure, because it's fun. But at the end of the day,
what are we here for, guys? What are we here for? It's a fucking YouTube channel.
Of course, yeah. So I'm in on Darwin Núñez. So have we turned around the 1 point plus Man City getting their players? Can we get closer to Man City? Absolutely, yes, we can. I'm not saying we will, but we can, because I think Darwin Núñez is going to do stuff that our previous forward line didn't do. Which
I want your optimism so much.
The target, mate. When you played every game of the season, you've got no reason to not be optimistic.
Okay. So Liverpool is optimistic. I think it's a good segue to move into the next team.
Fuck. Oh God! Do you take this optimism when you buy stocks? Are you just? It's always going to work out because damn, I need that happiness right there.
Did it not work out last season?
Okay. Whoever can control the slates, let's move on to the next team.
Okay, let's go.
I actually legitimately thought you would be a little bit more open with your attitude, which I know is you don't think they've done enough.
I swear to God, we had a better season.
And this is the rumored slate, by the way.
Any Villa season of all time.
No, go to the rumored slate because it's completely empty because there's no rumors.
That's the joke.
There is no rumors.
Instead of looking at Liverpool, that's cool. I mean, no one's ever done that tactic.
There is no rumors.
Yeah, no rumors.
Just
quickly before we move on, Brian had to bounce. He's got a job interview in the morning and had things. He has to get prepared
Brian.
for it. He says hello to people in the chat and gogoodbye.
All the best.
Hey, he's gonna be fantastic, and I can't wait to watch him on Chatterbait. So Brian Daigle, God bless.
Yeah. So I guess this is the point though. Are we missing something? There doesn't seem to be a lot of rumors right now.
Yeah,
in the Liverpool camp,
very quiet.
This is kind of Liverpool recently, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
you guys bring in one player at a time to replace another player. There's not let's bring in 4 or 5 players.
Well, maybe they don't need it. They've still got players. As you said, you kept Salah. That was the big one. You've still got Firmino. You've still got Robbie floating around. You've still got the guy you saw from Wolves, whose name is escaping me
Jota.
for the moment. Jota, fantastic. Núñez does look like he will be a good player. And the tenacious fellow who ended the season, Luis
Diaz.
I think we're just circling back to early established points here.
Yeah,
I think we're.
But it's all I'm saying is to go full circle. I understand maybe why as much as we want Liverpool fans to be freaking out, maybe they're not. And I think after a couple of years, Klopp has shown that he probably knows what he's doing. So they're probably going, well, okay, we'll have it. But anyway,
he also
that's
talks
the
shit.
only upside.
Klopp
Alright.
also talks shit.
So let's talk about the champions. Let's talk
do it.
about
Yeah.
the
the
champions.
biggest club in Manchester. Let's talk about them.
Gabriel
God.
Jesus.
the only.
Get in there, Azaz. Get in there. Dig it.
Let's talk
Sure,
about
man.
the big dogs in Manchester.
I
Yeah.
love
Hey,
it.
you can respect the team that beats you all you want.
know.
Gabriel Jesus
I do.
is gone to Arsenal as addressed. Some will say that's important. I don't know how important it is. I certainly thought he added value to their bench and the occasional rotation.
I did too.
Pep Guardiola loves a rotation player, and he was a really good rotation
His whole
player.
team is a
Cracking
rotation
rotation.
player. That's what they do.
That's what they do. Zinchenko has moved on to Arsenal. Not official, but like I think we could all call
Looking
it
like
official.
yeah.
He was really handy for them.
God, he was good
he's
for them.
quietly a guy who just knew what he had to do, never underperformed, always maintained a very high level. Under Pep Guardiola's system, he was a perfect fit. Deserves to be somewhere else.
He
Like, kind of
won them the
the way of it.
championship
Probably
this
better
year.
than
He won
Arsenal.
the EPL title this year. In the last game of the season, Villa were 2-0 up. They subbed him on. He changed the game for them and is the reason why Villa lost that game. He gave legs on the left side that allowed them to open up Villa and was the reason why they won. And he is shit on by so many people. And I think Zinchenko is just
I think he's a
great
good player. I think it's their I think it's Arsenal's best in so far this window. But this is about City. They've lost Zinchenko.
Yeah.
He played a lot for them at the end of the season. He was like their number one left back choice. I mean, Mendy was long gone and useless for the most part. I think City will miss that. I mean, I don't know what they brought in yet. Have they? Is that? Am I
They're
looking
going
at
to go to Cucurella.
Hang
Yeah,
on. Let's keep this orderly here,
Yeah.
folks.
Sure,
They
sure,
lost Raheem Sterling, who I think we can all agree at various times throughout his career at Man City has been a very important player for them.
Mhm.
He's like one of those ones where when you think he's maybe having a quiet season, he still shows up to some important games and delivers the goods consistently. So I think that's probably the biggest loss of their team right now.
Put some credit on his name. I think Sterling gets lost in the melting pot sometimes, and he has been consistently great for years. He's had a lot of crap in the media, and he's kept performing. So, I'm sad. I am sad for him. I think he deserves to be at the Champions. He's done what he needs to do. Hopefully that works out for him. But yeah, it's I'd agree with you, Paul. I think that's the biggest of the four out. That's
best
the
one
biggest.
coming. Best
Yeah.
one
And then
coming.
the next one is Fernandinho, who hasn't been as important to Pep Guardiola, but is like, he's like one of those guys that is a clubhouse guy. Like he's the kind of guy that when Pep found out very publicly that he's moving on, he's like a Vincent Kompany. Like you can't necessarily equate the value of that kind of a player in that dressing room, but I think it is a loss. And of course, they won the massive race for Erling Haaland. God knows what he looks like when he's in the Premier League. We'll find out. Calvin Phillips, who is a really good ball distributor who plays for Leeds.
Player for them.
Really good squad addition. And then they brought in a guy who some people are saying may actually be like the most exciting player to join. I don't know how that works. Is this they actually got him. They got him in January.
Is he an Argentinian striker?
Yes,
he is.
Yeah,
And he's
from River
like-
Plate. Yeah.
20, 21.
Martinez
He's
is
really
He was
young.
incredible in the league and the Argentinian league. Like ridiculous.
He was.
Yes.
He
That
is
doesn't say a lot. I recognize that.
an absolute forward pressing machine.
Yeah.
So everybody got really excited because he's like another wolf in the wolf pack that is Pep Guardiola's Man City. So I look at this and I think, well, there's a little bit of a weakness here and there. I think on a whole, you could say that they've strengthened themselves more than they've lost. Like if Erling Haaland performs at a certain level, the loss of
Jesus.
Sterling shouldn't be
He's
as big a
going
deal.
to, isn't he?
He's going to
I
hit.
don't know.
Going to.
Fuck. Is he going to hit 50, 60?
Oh,
I don't know,
come
man.
on.
I think there's still legitimate questions about his
18
fit
to
for
20.
Pep Guardiola.
He'll score 18 to 88 between 15 and 25 goals max.
Yeah.
No, I think he's going to hit
He's not
30.
going to score 30 goals plus. He's not.
I think he's going to. I think
It
he's
doesn't
going to
happen in the Premier League anymore, man. It happened like once in the last 20 years. All of a sudden, one player is going to come in and do it. No,
I think he's going to be a bust.
Can I just say one thing about Haaland? I don't think he's going to be a bust. I think
I don't
he's
think
gonna
he'll be
be
a bust, but
success. But like 2 seasons ago, he was playing like the actual pandemic year, he was still playing in Austria, number one. And the second thing is in the league where Lewandowski's scoring 30, 35, etc. goals, he scored like 25 or 22 or something like that. So
For
like
Dortmund,
he's obviously
though, let's be
a friend.
honest too, who he's
Yeah,
playing.
but Dortmund, they're a big team.
But they're
Dortmund
not
are a big
Bayern
team.
Munich.
They're not Bayern Munich, but they make a lot of chances. Like he's also got a little bit of an injury issue because his body's growing. He's very young.
He
Erling
missed a
Haaland
lot
is
of
gonna
time
be a
last season.
smash.
It'll be
He's gonna
interesting to see. Yeah.
He's going to be a really good player, but like if you then add Bernardo to these outs, which is also a rumor, I don't know. Like I feel like it starts to balance up a little bit. Like what I was saying about Raheem being wasteful before, he's still a very good player. Gabriel Jesus, second half of the season, same thing as Mane, really stepped up in that second half of the season. I agree with JP. Zinchenko's a great player. I do think City are stronger. Don't get me wrong. The Calvin Phillips is an upgrade on Fernandinho's latest seasons, not vintage Fernandinho.
He fills in for what they now need in that position for sure, in a good way.
So if Haaland like takes fire, Man City are going to be unstoppable. They've already won 4 of the last 5 seasons. Great. They're going to be amazing. They're going to challenge on all fronts. Cool. But
So boring.
What if Haaland gets injured? Like what if he does? And then who's gonna
They just play with a false
at that
9
point?
and they win the league again like they've done the last 2 seasons.
But they don't have Raheem. They don't have Jesus.
Well, let's talk about the rumors. Let's talk about the rumors because the transition of this team for certain key players is not over yet necessarily. So if we talk about the rumors, there becomes like a fairly extensive list of players that might not be part of that Pep Guardiola arsenal anymore. If somebody could put it up.
Oh, that's the next one. Sorry, mate. Appreciate that.
So some of the rumors, Nathan Ake, we kind of talked about. There's a certain will he, won't he? It seems like he'll probably stay, which is great. That means they have a 50 million pound backup, like center back. That's awesome. Icky might go. There's some talk about that. But then the biggest rumor is that Barcelona are just in love with Bernardo Silva and desperately want him.
We're all just laughing at Barcelona at this point.
How are they still allowed to sign players? Like what the fuck is happening?
Going to be the best, beautiful train crash that everybody saw fucking coming. I can't wait for them to have to sell their kit sponsorship to fill every corner of the kit with sponsorships because they can't afford shit.
Barcelona are gonna look like a NASCAR. That's what they're going to look like. The
They're
players,
gonna be the new
they'll have
leagues,
tattoos. They'll look like modern day rappers. They'll need that money sponsors. They will be selling players on eBay, and Aston Villa will be using bot snipes to pick up fucking Lewandowski for £3.50. That's literally what's going to happen at this club, and I can't wait. And it's going to be so.
We got to move on for Barcelona, guys.
Funny nonetheless.
No, fuck you, Paul. We just want to rant. We're a football podcast.
We can do an entire thing of ranting about it.
But it was good fun. It was good fun.
It'll come up for the Man United rumors. But Cucurella is rumored to be coming in to.
I don't get this.
To do what he does. And then there's some sort of suggestion that with a year left in his contract, Saka is going to be available, which is crazy because unless he's pushing for a move, and like that's plausible. Like if Man City come for you and you're Saka, I think he could see a situation where he might push for that to happen.
But he doesn't go. He doesn't play. Did you think he play? Like they've that is where they still have insane depth. Saka is the boy at Arsenal and getting into England. He's at best a rotation player.
Well, I don't think they're that strong.
Let's clarify something about City though. Here, City are a rotation team. Every player rotates. There's only one player that played more than 30 games in the entire season last season, and that was De Bruyne. Every other team, every other player played 30 games or less. That means it was spread across the entire squad. Right. That's how he functions. So
and we're talking about a right winger where Mahrez is currently the only real right winger at Man City now that Sterling's gone. Like there isn't a lot of options there.
Bernardo Silva, right? He's a right winger.
Well, Bernardo Silva is again on the rumor list to maybe be going out.
Yeah. I don't.
So, and that's
I
also
really
Bernardo Silva tried to get out of there a couple of years ago.
Right, but I think he bought into it.
I think he bought into it to a certain extent. I think he feels like a guy that if Barcelona approaches him, I feel like there's a story there that he might be like, I got to go. It's Barcelona. Like he feels like he might be one of those players. if any of these moves come to pass, if any one of these players leave, if any one of these players, like if there's no more ins and they just lose these 3 more guys, does that make them weaker in any way?
Yes.
Or are they just so depth heavy that even losing these 3 players on the left of the screen, they're fine?
I think they're still fine. I think they're still in that conversation for winning the league, but it does make them weaker. And if they do have an injury issue in any one of those positions where they don't have the same depth, they're used to just going whatever, we can just play whoever we want, that will come into play. They'll tie more, they'll drop points more, and they'll be less likely to, get 95 plus points or more. It'll become a little bit more like Liverpool will be closer. The likes of Chelsea and maybe Spurs will get into that conversation. But yeah, they'll. It will require, not bringing anybody else in to replace them, which we've never seen that happen. They usually players go, players come in, and they spin well, and they often have zero issues. So
yeah,
I expect that to be the same. There's 40 plus days left in the window. We're not going to see City at the end of this window looking less likely to. They're not going to be weaker. Maybe on paper it might look like they might be, but they know what they're doing, and they've been doing it for years.
Not that I'm excited to see any injuries happen to any players, but it got reported falsely by the news today that Holland had broken his leg in preseason, and I was a little bit like, yes.
Inside, I did the same thing, Paul.
I don't feel good about it. I don't like it, but whatever.
I feel like a bad person, but
what was it? Time. Didn't Holland score a hat trick on his debut for Borussia Dortmund?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
In like
he's very good. He's very good. Water is wet, and Holland's very good. Whatever.
Yeah.
On to the next team.
Let's go. Oh, right. I got it. That's me. Who did that?
So Man United with a massive clear out. Henderson, backup keeper, has gone off to Nottingham Forest to get some regular playing time as a loanee. Andreas Pereira joined Fulham for 10 million. Jesse Lingard's off. Matt is off. Matic is joining or has joined. Jose Mourinho, Roma. Cavani is off. I think he signed today, possibly with Villarreal. And Paul Pogba has gone back to eat pasta and be happy with his camera crew over at Juventus.
Paul is forever sad that he has lost Paul Pogba again.
I don't really want to talk about him. Eriksen has joined Man United in a fairly straightforward deal that took a little bit longer than people thought. Martinez is joining Erik ten Hag from Ajax to potentially be his left-footed center back or his midfield player. We don't know yet. We'll find out. James Garner is listed as a kind of an addition to the team because he had a successful loan spell. James Garner, he had a successful loan spell. And is expected to make the possibly the rotation this year. And then they've got Malacia.
You count that as an in, like a player that was on loan is an in now?
In the other slates you saw, that's why you saw Broja.
There was a couple of others, yeah.
Like,
sorry, I'm just trying to.
If a player is coming back from a
okay,
like
right.
Conacher or Gallagher,
like
for Chelsea,
one as well.
Bloody hell, our ins would be huge. Okay, cool.
If they're expected to make the first team,
right,
and be impactful,
James Garner is listed because right now we have no midfield, and he's a successful midfield player who's returning.
He was at Forest last season on loan. Is that
he was at Nottingham Forest? If you don't know what he did at Nottingham Forest last season, it's worth looking into. He's one of the big reasons why they got brought up.
Oh, nice. Him and Spence.
He did an amputation
Davis,
on a dog in a live match, so it was incredible.
Right.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I'll just fire away on this one. It's just a weird period for United. They are not pursuing the title at all. That's obvious. They have a new manager who's come in. The new manager probably is more impactful than any of those signings that you see on screen. It's a weirdly optimistic time for Man United fans, but we're also mostly aware that like we just want to see better football. We want to be competing for something in a couple of years. It's not a wash season, but it kind of is a wash season. We're not really looking. I mean, if we compete for top four, like it's relatively close towards the end of the season. Cool. Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of it. If we don't make it, but we see like improvements across the board. We're playing better. Certain players are getting, we can see where the potential is for a couple more seasons of development that they might be really good. That's a successful season, but that's kind of the drag. That's where we're at.
Paul, can I chime in on this real quick? I mean, I obviously we spoke about this on WhatsApp. The outs is a massive part of what needs to happen for a club that's in transition. You've gotten clearly by this photograph, you've gotten rid of a lot of players that needed to go. They were either too old and they were not useful to where Ten Hag wants to go with the team, or they were just problems in the dressing room, which we can speak about. We've spoken about before. The ins coming in so far haven't been a ton. Ten Hag comes in with I think Christian Eriksen. I haven't had a chance to ask you about this. Obviously, as a person who knows Eriksen really well, his time at Spurs, he was there for I think 7 seasons, 7 years at least. It was he was amazing for us, but sort of fell off towards the last bit of time there, which happens with players. Thoughts on Eriksen coming in? Where does he play in United? Is he going to be an 8? Is he sort of, instead of that attacking midfielder he was for Spurs, he's going to drop deeper like he did for Juventus for Inter under Conte? Where do you see him playing? Because I've been wanting to ask a United supporter about this and for a long time.
I think Eriksen is the kind of ball playing, intelligent football player that our club needs. I think that Ten Hag, his style of play needs that. I mean, it's called the Ajax profile of player for a reason, because they tend to be very smart. They tend to know how to play the ball on the ground and how to move quickly and train well. I think he's there to occasionally play a little bit deeper, depending on what the tournament is. I think he's there for a rotational option for Bruno Fernandes, because Bruno played too much last season and his levels fell off late in the season at the worst possible time. I think he's there to unlock games that, we have 5 subs and an option off the bench like Eriksen will be very meaningful.
It's a quality option for sure. Yeah.
So I mean, I just don't think he's there to start, but I think he's going to be really I think he's going to play a lot. I just think at a few different positions.
And we've got a rumors slide. We've got a rumors slate for this, right?
Hold on. I got a question.
I am straight up going to go because I'm late for a soccer game. But if Luke continues to fucking do the fake snoring thing while we're talking, I'm just going to bounce.
Okay, that's cool. I can run it from here. That's fine.
Fuck off. I got a question.
The 1990 jersey is fire, bro.
All the guys going out. United,
my man, I wore this for you, man. You're the only one who would get it. Sorry,
go on, JP.
with what 12 guys leaving United, and you guys bring in 4 so far, and this isn't about the quality or any of that shit. How much money are you guys saving on wages that will allow for maybe not this window, but next window for you guys to potentially kind of go big? Like if you guys have a solid, 8th, 9th, 7th place season, but you've cut out 50 million a year in wages, 100 million. I don't even know. Like some of these earners were big. Pogba, what was he? 300 grand a week. Cavani,
Lingard was making a ton of money, and he was barely.
We freed up a lot of money. It's just that, like, you could want to build a team in a window, but you're not going to build a team in a window, even if you have the money to do it. So the players that have to be brought in now have to be brought in more meticulously and with less concern over their brand names and the flashiness of it, which is what has gotten us into like 10 years of like bad decision making. So we'll have a lot of money. That's never really been an issue. It's just we've been spending the money poorly at the wrong players and maybe worrying about the wrong things, like commercial profiles and stuff like that. So I think it puts us in a good position, but again, good position to sign players that maybe are quote unquote star players. We won't be the only ones trying to get them. And maybe other teams who also have money now, who maybe are in Champions League or have other draw effects. So it can't just be about what money's available. But most of the players that you're talking about who have moved on, I said this like 2 years ago. Like we were at a point of the plan where like they were always going to move on. Juan Mata was always going to move on.
Was always going to move on. There's a ton of players there that were extra surplus requirements for like 3 seasons max.
And we were a very bloated squad anyways. like we needed a bit of a culling, which is what we got. So the hot rumors, if we talked about it.
Paul, before you go, can you address the rumors?
I'm gonna pop the hot outs. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is probably going to get moved on. He doesn't play the ball well enough for Ten Hag. He's very good defensively. He's very good at tackling one-on-one. Cristiano Ronaldo, whatever the narrative is shopping himself to get to a new team. I think it's because he just wants to play in Champions League and he knows he's only got a few more seasons to do that. I don't hold it against him. It's a huge wage bill off us that maybe gives us money to buy another player this summer, which would be nice. In descending order of drama, Moussa Dembele from Lyon is rumored to be a striker that we could get. We've liked him for a long time. He would be not Ronaldo replacement. He's almost like the Cavani replacement, like the
presser, the aggression.
Well, kind of like a depth striker, not going to be the guy who's the new main guy. We just don't have a lot of strikers.
Yeah.
Sangare rumors are starting to break now that we're interested in Sangare. There's a few people who have reported that it's in negotiations and it's going smoothly. I don't know how much I believe that. Anthony from Ajax.
Good player.
It's a good player, but it seems like Ajax really don't want to let him go. I think they've been just marauded all summer for players, not just by Man United, but a few clubs. So I think they're really looking to not budge on this one because they still want to win their league next year, and PSV are catching up. And then the biggest rumor, obviously, is De Jong, which has probably the most drama of a lot of transfer rumors I've heard lately. And there's a bit of a story behind that one, I think.
Okay. If you sign, so good question, Paul. If you sign De Jong and let's say you get your Dembele and your kind of all-round kind of backup striker, where do you finish next season?
If we get De Jong and we just sign a backup striker, I think we're probably like looking at 5th or 6th again.
It's realistic.
And like, I think people kind of forget that certain players in our squad last year had terrible seasons that like maybe they replicate those seasons, but I think it's unlikely. Like, I think Rashford is better than he was last season. I think Sancho going into his second season in the Premier League will be much better. I think we're going to be much better coached than we were.
I don't think
season.
I agree with Sancho. I think you've seen a very average Sancho so far. I think he will improve. I don't think I don't see, there was nothing I saw even individually, that would really make me go, wow, he's going to live up to that 90 million,
Okay. Well, fortunately, time will tell.
No, well, time will tell. But like, I sometimes it is a bit irksome. You're very quick to criticize.
I think my point ultimately, though, is Luke.
You don't come back to.
I think people are undervaluing the actual squad that we still have based on last year's like shitty ending and performance. Like the same squad the year before with not that much help from the players that left finished second. Like they are dramatically underperforming last year, so they just have to find a level where they're like.
He has a point. I think the system that United will play under Ten Hag will be much more specific and functional. It's just the nature of the way.
We had a lot of distractions last year.
It doesn't mean that they're going to finish higher. It just means that they'll be a better team.
By the way, I want to ask Azaz. I'm saying 5th or 6th. I don't know any teams that are below 5th or 6th that are getting that much better. Like it's not like I said they're going to challenge for 4th or 3rd.
No, I think what he says is appropriate. It makes sense.
I think one thing has to be called out, though, regardless of the narrative around Ronaldo of he rocked the boat and he did this and he did that. The man won points and he got a lot of goals.
Yeah,
that is one
goals
concern.
On all comps.
Yeah,
right?
that one concern. That's a concern because I agree with you on the thing that Paul. That
where the goals
some
come
of these
from.
players can't possibly play as badly as they did last season,
No.
and they can't possibly be as dysfunctional. But if you just look at that Spurs game at Old Trafford, like that guy won the game on his own. Like so that piece of it is that part United really need to address because
it does seem like Ten Hag wants to keep him though. Like
of course, I'm saying if he goes, he wants.
I don't think he's going. I don't think he's going though.
He wants to go because of the Champions League though. Like that's really Champions League is his tournament. He thinks he's like Mr. And he is Mr. Champions League. He's won it 5 times. Yeah. Right. He's the top goal scorer. So I don't know if you can stop a guy like that leaving. If he leaves, they have to address the goal situation because who's scoring? That's the thing.
Right.
That's a good
So the season before, without Cristiano Ronaldo, we scored more goals and we were less reliant on Cristiano Ronaldo. And we played as a more dynamic front three or attacking. Like we had a system. I think a lot of people blame Ronaldo for breaking the system or breaking the way we played. I think it's not his fault. I wouldn't put it on him. He scored 20 goals. Like you can't just do that. But I do think the way he plays was kind of hurting the way we were lining up to play.
It was a detriment to like a Bruno Fernandes, for instance, and what he would normally do when you've got a Cristiano Ronaldo who's the focal point rather than Bruno Fernandes.
Right. So yes, it's a lot of goals that we may be missing this season, but I know who has usually scored those goals in the past, and they I think can find their form again. Like I think last year was Rashford's lowest goal scoring season since he like started playing in the Premier League as a 19-year-old. Like I firmly believe that because he broke his back and he had surgery and he had a bunch of other stuff, that was a wash season, that he'll come in and be much improved and be a 10 goal scorer again this year. You know what I mean? Like I think I can see where the goal scoring options are. I'm actually kind of more worried about like seeing us play a better way, like be more controlling of the ball and play
a system. You want to see a team play with a system that functions,
some kind of system
that all the players understand it and they play together. It makes sense. And I think you'll get that from Ten Hag. I mean, that is his thing. He is very specific and very clinical about how he wants to see his team play.
I mean,
and I think you'll get that. You'll get that whether or not you get the goals like, sorry, JP, but whether or not you get the goals like we've seen from Ronaldo and from somebody else. I think what Azaz is saying is that's very problematic if he goes, because it's a really hard thing to replace, even in a system, because you still need prolific players who, when the ball gets to them in the box, they can put the ball away. And I think you might struggle in that sense, but that's probably why you won't still finish in the top four. But next season you might be in that conversation again.
I think you're right. I just don't look at one season. I look at a few. I can look at the season before and be like, well, Rashford should be scoring more. Bruno Fernandes can score more. Like there was such a weird anomaly last season of so many things that went fucking wrong. Like, I mean, we're talking about the manager you love got fired. The new guy comes in. He comes in with no staff of his own. Yeah. So the training goes to shit.
Scenario.
You got Ronaldo probably walking around unhappy. Ronaldo loses a child. Mason Greenwood gets arrested. Like there's so many things that I think affected just the fucking air of the place.
It was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
That was what I was going to say. Was the fact that you guys now have a permanent manager itself is going to do just. It doesn't matter that it's Ten Hag. The fact that you don't have an interim, because last season it seemed like United, they didn't go through like two bad patches.
There's just no identity.
They almost went through like 3 or 4 bad patches, and they ended the year really bad. And so for me, to finally have a coach in place that's going to drill them and hold them accountable and get rid of a lot of the players that were underperforming and not showing well. I think what you're going to have is a far more competitive squad, and you're going to have a squad that's not going to have 3 or 4 bad blips of results over 4 or 5 weeks. Instead, what you will get is you won't have that end of the season collapse. You'll have better results here and there, which I hate to say it because I still think you guys are going to finish probably lower than last year, but I think in the table, not by points, which is a weird concept to even
get. The nature of the league next season, though.
But I think it will help them in the long run.
I think we'll end up doing a season preview. This is obviously where we're at the moment.
Transfer. This is a transfer preview.
I am going to dwell on one of the rumors really quickly before I go sweat and pass out playing soccer myself. Football. So the De Jong rumor. Yes, he has publicly said he does not want to move from Barcelona. Yes, he is cementing that position. What is the narrative that behind this is kind of weird, and it's kind of starting coming out, and who knows if it's true or not. I kind of feel like it probably is. He had deferred his wages during the pandemic and is currently owed 17 million by Barcelona.
A year.
Yeah.
No, it's like a total sum of he is owed 17 million currently
on top of his salary.
No, it's not like on top. Well,
it's the cut he took.
I know. I'm pretty sure he's owed. I was trying to work that out in the article, whether it was 18 million a year he's owed now, or because he's deferred. I think it has to be 18 million because the numbers don't work out otherwise. I could be wrong. Like it could.
So essentially he's owed a whackload of money, and there is some suggestion that the money that they owe him, they may wiggle their way out of paying that if he is no longer an employee of Barcelona.
He's not.
So he has to present the I am a great, happy employee, so that they have no excuse but to pay him what is owed to him. So his public facing persona of no, I want to be here, I want to do this, that, the other, is kind of a legal stance because he may actually have to take them to court to get the money that is owed to him. And that's been a component to why the deal hasn't moved forward. The only reason why I think there's any credence to this is I know that they owe money to the players. I can't imagine all the players are happy by the fact that they're being told yet again, you need to take a pay cut and we're going to pay the money, or maybe we're not going to pay the money. So I think there's a real cause for him to be not as happy as maybe he's publicly saying at Barcelona. And quite frankly, at this point, Man United will have had enough conversations with his agents, representatives, and probably Ten Hag directly with him to not be pursuing him unless there was a real good chance that he's going to want to move on. Yeah. Like all he has to say is like, no, I mean it when I say it. I'm happy there. Like that's a very easy, and then we move on. So I do think that there is a real good chance that he will still be moving on from Barcelona.
I think
and
David
that when he says publicly he's happy, I think there's a reason for it.
Yeah, but I think, that's a point. But if the reason is there, how much are you going to pay? Because I think Convery said it, and like Convery said it in that I listened to your last chat with Convery. I thought it was a great chat. Because as much as David Convery is completely useless at scheduling anything that would involve actually scheduling, he makes a lot of sense and he's great to listen to. And he made a great point. He said, I do not think we would be pursuing this player if there was not something more than just a rumor. And I 100% agree. There is a serious chance.
Oh, we all know it's past a rumor, don't we, Luke? I mean, we're long past. No,
not a rumor, but like rumored to be a good chance. Like I think it's well on the way. The problem is, it is an incredible amount of money. De Jong has done a huge favor for Barcelona, right? Now we're watching Barcelona spunk this cash advance that they've got somehow on players. They've just signed a 31-year-old, 32-year-old striker for 47 million in Lewandowski. And he's sat there going, okay. And it's like, well, how much does he dig in? How much are United willing to make him your biggest earner at that club? And maybe you are, and substantially, because that is the only way you get him out of that contract. And that, whether you can get that sorted by the end of this transfer window,
I don't understand where. So okay, A, we don't know what the contract is, and B, we kind of heard it's
we know he's deferred. We know he's deferred serious amounts of his wages, like almost 2/3 of his previous wages, which we're going to be continuing in the next 2 to 3 years. That is literally written. We know that.
Deferred it. That's a deal he's got with Barcelona. That doesn't necessarily affect the contract that we pick up if we get him. Like we may not be getting him for the full haul contract.
If he wants that money, for sure. But if he wants that money, you're going to have to give him at least 80% of that. He's not going to come for he's not going to move.
Well, no. Okay. I guess ultimately what you're asking is, are we prepared to pay him a lot of money? Yes, I think we are. Do we have a lot of money to spend on him? Yes, we do.
But not a lot of money. Like
no, we have a lot of money.
Stupendous amount.
No, okay, guys, let's move on from this. I think we've done it. I think we come back to this.
Bottom line, because I think it's the most important point I can make.
Hopefully, when the deal gets done or doesn't, we'll know and we'll get.
Bottom line, I would be extremely happy if we brought him in because the manager.
He's a great player.
How do you think he'll get? Do you think he'll come?
My Vegas odds says that we're in with like a 70% chance. I cannot see how he would want to continue to stay at Barcelona. And I don't think he
wants to. I think he wants
dream club, but at the same time, their situation would lead me to believe if I was a player in that scenario, I'd want to get the fuck out. Doesn't matter what team it is. If you know, like we've seen players at various clubs when they go through that situation where things are a mess. They're like,
I'm leaving you with this thought that I think it will happen because we want him. I can't see him being happy there, and Barcelona are aggressively pushing him out the door.
And you have Ten Hag, arguably, that helps him massively to bring him in because they've worked together previously. So that helps.
But I mean, who knows? Rumors came out today that Chelsea are willing to make an offer. So time will tell. But for me, I think it's probably a 70% chance that we get him.
Okay. Well, Paul, thanks, buddy, and thanks for getting in here when you were able to. Good luck at your game tonight. And hopefully, you don't injure yourself. And I
gotta go stretch.
We'll see you soon. I'll get that stretchy in before you go. I know we kept you longer. All right,
Brian.
Yeah,
hang on. Before I'm just not willing to just let that be the end of that. I'm now that we've got rid of the United.
Now we're gonna have a chat now that he's gone.
I fucking can't with Paul, right? And I love Paul because Paul is one of the most intelligent human beings. He's so good at strategy. That's what he does for a living. But when he gets challenged on a point, he never gives an actual answer. Brian fucking Ireland gets pissed off, gets irrational, but he makes points, right? Azaz gets points. JP makes points. Paul uses big words that baffle the world and never actually says
Nobody's baffled by it, buddy.
He's a politician. He's a politician.
He absolutely is. He's actually said nothing In this, and he's like, and literally, oh well, if Luke pretends to fall asleep, I'm gonna go. Oh, what are you gonna do? Go cry, Paul? Fuck! Like, Paul, answer the question. Do you think United have done good business? They've done fucking terrible business. Let's call the
That's
spade
why I
a
love
spade.
Connie, because Connie just says it like it is. Right? He doesn't
I
give
know.
a
I
shit.
love Connie for that.
Yeah,
And
he just
Paul
says
is
it straight up, and Paul's all
I'm
like
sorry.
lollygagging around. Well, I only look. I
Oh,
look at
man.
all the seasons. I look at
Yeah,
the
and then he's
last
like,
4
well,
seasons and
well,
the next 4
Have you
seasons.
looked at this?
and just
Have you looked at this?
on anomalies as well. You know, the season United finished second. I think it's it's either the first or the second season where a team has picked up the most points from penalties as well. So
Yes.
that ain't gonna happen next season.
No,
You know,
no,
like, and I'm
it-
not
it-
saying
it-
that it was Fernandez or any like whether they were legit penalties or not. I really don't give a shit. The point is, you don't get 11 penalties in
Every
most
season.
seasons.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
It's an
mean?
anomaly for sure.
They
Yeah.
scored goals. I'm going to make one last point, right? Really quickly, right? This is
And then
the
let's move on from
current-
United because
This is but this is the current. No, but no, I think we can all enjoy. Like seeing United down is phenomenal to me. This
Glorious.
is the current Man United at the back, right? David Gay, fantastic. Hey, Tom Heaton, good back, right? Then you go to this is their current defensive lineup. Victor Lindelof, absolutely garbage. Bailly can't keep himself fit, garbage. Phil Jones will be out the window. Harry Maguire was booed today in a 3-1 victory. Diego Dallo is still there.
club captain too, by the way. After being like still club captain.
100%.
Strange
Varane has been nowhere near as good as said. Luke Shaw, they're saying that his attitude's bad. Tellez, Wan-Bissaka's out the door. Brandon William not good enough. Twanzebe not good enough. Now you've got this Malkaya, I can't say the Dutch lad. Yeah, then you've got the Mengi and you've got Martinez. You've got absolutely no one. You think look at the teams in this win.
So Luke,
Villa have signed play. Like
I want to counter this. I want to counter this with coming from a fan who had a club in a very similar scenario in Tottenham Hotspur post Pochettino with Mourinho and all the shit that went down. I could name probably the same amount of players you just named that are currently in the Spurs squad that have improved considerably under a very good manager and made us finish 4th. So the players themselves might not necessarily.
No, I don't think so. I think Romero came in and he made you finish.
Let me finish. One player does not change a team. The coach came in.
Romero changed you at the back. He completely changed you.
The coach changed the team, and the point is that, and there was a lot. Dyer was terrible. He was out. Davies was terrible. He was out. Sanchez was terrible. He was out. Those 3 players on their own in the last 6 games had 4 clean sheets and only allowed 2 goals against. That's 3 players that are 4 players that would never get into any other previous Spurs side except because of Conte. Now, I'm not saying that Ten Hag is Conte. Don't get me wrong. I'm not an idiot. Conte is a special coach, and he's going to get players, make players better. But those players aren't as bad as we're making them out to be. If the system is bad and the culture is bad, that it can fester. And I think that's what's happened at United. I'm not saying that they don't need to cycle through it. I'm just saying that some of those players are still good enough to use if the manager's good enough to make them better. And I think Ten Hag will make some of those players better. So it's not as bad as it looks, but it's still not great. And I'm going to leave it at that because we spoke way too much about United.
It's pretty bad.
Now it's time. It is pretty bad. Now it's time to talk about Tottenham Hotspur.
God damn, this is going to be our longest pod ever.
No, I'm not. I'm actually. I'm going to let you guys speak about it. I've talked about this all day long, all the time. We obviously know Bergwijn.
I mean, the winners of the summer, the winners of the transfer.
So far, I mean, I think it's obvious we've had the best window. I think it's a very balanced window. It's a window that's been balanced by Paratici and Conte and what they want. And of course, Levy's had a bit of say in some of it.
All right, I'm going first.
Let me just quickly go through what we're looking at here, and then you guys can have your say. But Bergwijn is not the only one. Carter Vickers went to Celtic. There's a couple other players. There's a lot of outs. There's a lot. Bergwijn went to Ajax. There's a ton of players that still need to go out, which is apparently what we're supposed to be doing over the next couple of weeks. That's the focus. And we it's pretty obvious. The Lo Celsos, Dembele, Winks, all of those players need to go. But we brought in Jed Spence, Langley, Richarlison, Basuma, and Perisic. Fucking incredible, and Fraser Forster, who's not on there, but I think still an important player when you need a good backup goalie and you need English quotient. I think we've done a really, really good job in getting most of these players in before the preseason, which was what Conte asked for. Specifically said, I want them in because I want them to do the doubles. I want them to come on the tour. I want them to understand what's required from this team, and I want to compete at the highest level in all competitions. I think that he's shown that, and the team has shown that, and the club has shown that with these players that they brought in. Love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. I mean, I'm buzzing by it. It's pretty obvious. Why wouldn't I be? JP wanted to go first. Go ahead, JP.
I want to go first. First thing first is you guys are winning the transfer window. Second thing is I have a big policy when it comes to transfers, and that is you if you're going to let people go, let them go quickly. Don't let them fester around, which is a problem for every club. Like let's be clear, that's not an easy thing to do. The other thing is you don't want to create too much change, and it's almost like you guys have signed half of a new team.
Yeah,
which is a lot. That's very hard to get a team playing a style well enough. Sometimes it takes months, 3 or 4
that's
months.
That's why, like I said, they've come in immediately.
They've done it exactly from the get-go.
Immediately.
And there's very few coaches in the Premier League who could do this. I don't even think Pep can do it. I know Pep can't do it.
I think Conte is an anomaly in that scenario for sure.
Conte is an anomaly.
Yeah.
Klopp is an anomaly.
Yeah,
They
Klopp
can
can do it
get
as well, for
guys
sure.
into a system, into a culture, and in fucking a month, the change is direct.
It's immediate. Yeah.
That's what I want at Villa. First off, is I want a coach who changes and you fucking see it and you can tell. And Conte is doing it. I'm scared because to me it's Liverpool and Man City, and then it's going to be Tottenham. And it's not going to be you guys aren't going to be fighting out for first place, but you guys are going to be easily in third place, and it's going to be a battle for top four because I don't think Chelsea are doing great business, and I worry about Tuchel. I think he's a little bit just stressed as fuck after
He's a bit erratic. It's been a lot for him. He's gone through
he's
too.
a little bit. I feel like he actually needs like a really nice special massage and a month off on holiday. But I think Chelsea's going to be battling it out for fourth. But god damn it, you guys went after so many top players. I don't know about this Barca kid. I think he's going to be just trash.
Langley?
Lang, whatever. But Spence is good. Richarlison is good. Basuma's good. Perisic is a freak.
Richarlison good though. Like, and I'm not saying he's bad.
Who?
Richarlison.
He's going to be the perfect rotational sub or squad player when you have five subs.
Let's clarify what he was bought for just quickly, and then I'll let you guys talk a bit more. So he was bought as he's a 9, but he's also a winger on either side. He can play any one of those front 3 positions. So Son, Kane, or Kulusevski get injured or rotation playing in the Champions League, 5 subs. And just the nature of next season, post World Cup, you need a lot of different players in a lot of positions, and you need quality up top. He scored, I think, 10 goals for Everton last season. He generally scores around somewhere between 8 to 10 goals or 8 to 12 goals.
He's consistent.
Season in a pretty average Everton side. You put him in a Spurs side with Harry Kane and Son and Kulusevski and players who can create around him. The chance creation goes up considerably. And I think for what you need from depth for a team that wants to compete in all competitions, he's a really good signing. The price, I don't give a fuck. It's not my money.
It's not your money.
That's fine.
I get the idea that like, oh, we should think about how much it costs and whether to balance the books. Honestly, I don't give a shit. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. Is he good for the squad? And is his profile good for the way Antonio Conte thinks? Antonio Conte wants a player like him in every position because his work rate is ridiculous. He will put everything hard on the sleeve. He's a little bit of a dirty bastard, and he'll get the job done when it needs to. And that's, you hate him when they're on the other team, but you love him when they're on your team. So and Conte loves the player. So he's a very good player in a rotation scenario where a squad that's going to compete in all competitions.
Okay, so do you think, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely spot on, nailed it, point right up. The only thing that I worry about, right, with Richarlison, when you watch him, is that he is pretty petty. He does get frustrated, right? Now, as you said, everything else, all the benefits of he is. Maybe he's
Conte. Conte, it's coachable.
No, coachable. I don't care who Conte is. He's a hot-headed Brazilian, and because there's been a number of hot-headed Brazilians that weren't coachable. So let me just make this point: is he going to be as coachable and as happy to be part of this great mix when he's not playing? because he has played every week at Everton because he's been their main guy outside of DCW when he was really performing. He was the guy, and now he is not the guy. Outside, if Kulusevski, if Son and Kane are playing well, he doesn't play. Not in the big games. He doesn't. He plays a rotation, and I get that. That's my only concern with him. I think the rest, everything you said is absolutely spot on. That's my only concern is what is his attitude like when he's not playing week in week.
So before I get to his ass, because I want your thoughts on it too, but I'll quickly respond to that. What Conte is attempting to build here, and this is what Azaz will know this, and any fan of a team that's won a lot or knows how to has seen their team build a large squad and understands like the rotation and how it works. We talked about City, only one player playing more than 30 minutes, 30 games in a total in a season. Conte is going to rotate the side. Harry Kane is not going to play the minutes he's played previously. It led to injury almost every season. People are like, oh, his ankles, his blah, 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 all these other problems. He's going to get rotated. Heung-min Son, same thing. He'll be very streaky. He'll play a lot, and then he'll go 4 or 5 games without doing anything. Very streaky. You put in Richarlison. What you're doing there is you're giving an opportunity for your best players to rotate, to rest, and then to play a player that still is good enough to fit into the squad at the same level. Like you've seen at Liverpool. Liverpool have done this probably better than any other side with the players that they have. Jota is Richarlison. He's like the same type of player. Comes in, holy shit, he's starting ahead of Mane, because he's good enough. But you're creating that competition, and I think that's what Conte's doing. It's a squad game. It's 25 players, 4 competitions, and Conte, despite what you might say if I'm deluded or otherwise, Conte wants to win them all, and he's going to try to at least win 1 or 2 of them through the season, and he requires this much level of player in each position. He turned to the bench every time he turned to the bench last season. He's like, I don't have anybody to play. I've got 11 players, maybe 12, 13 players that I can trust, and the rest of them I'm not sure about. In this squad, with what we've bought this season, he has a bench he can look at with 4 or 5 players, and he can rotate them, and he can bring them in and out as he needs, which Klopp does really well and Pep does really well. And those are the 2 best teams in Europe and the 2 best teams in England for the last 6 years. And he's trying to do the same thing because that's what the best managers do. Whether it works or not with Richarlison, I don't know, but that's the idea. And I think that you'll see a ton of rotation. I think you'll see Kane sit a little bit more than he wants, which means he'll be more motivated to score more. And I think you'll see the same from Son, and Kulusevski's just been an amazing addition. So that would be my thoughts on that. And again, I don't necessarily know that we're going to get exactly what we want from it, but that's what the best teams do, is they have quality rotation in every position at the highest level.
Yep.
So the way I look at it is Tottenham, and I think I did this for the Tottenham on Tour channel.
We spoke about it. Yeah.
Liverpool were going to play Tottenham. I agree that Tottenham are. At the time, I was saying they're the 3rd best team because Chelsea seemed to be falling off a cliff.
They were dipping pretty heavily.
They had issues last season. Basuma instantly adds to the starting 11. Perisic, even though he's 33, I think he adds something to the starting 11, and he's obviously just professionalism, seasoned experience, all the good stuff.
He makes all of our defense better just being there.
Yeah, and then there's Jed Spence, right back, Langley. I just think it's one of those transfer windows where I think you won like 7 of the last 10 games anyway, and then you've won the transfer window.
And we've improved.
You're bound to be very optimistic. Even price aside, like, I'm not sure I'm all in on Richarlison, but he's not coming to start. He's coming to be a bench player.
So like,
he's a very good option off the bench. I definitely have Tottenham in the top 4. At the moment, if the season was starting tomorrow, I would have them as 3rd. I don't think at the moment they're going to challenge the top 2 just from the perspective.
I think we're going to compete with you guys because of your lack of.
And I'm okay. And by the way, I'm
movement.
okay with that because I'm over the 90-point bullshit because we don't win it like that.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay if the title's won on 80 points or 79 points.
I'd rather.
That means a lot of people. Yeah, and it means a lot.
Got to take points off City.
More of a conversation at that point.
And Tottenham took 6 points off Man City anyway, but that's not the
Yeah.
point. The point is more teams being competitive is actually good for Liverpool, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, because it makes their points drop and it means you're
Yeah.
more competitive in that scenario. Yeah, for
And
sure.
those lot
It's a good
down the
show.
road from Man City, I was joking before saying they're smaller club. They're not the smaller club in Manchester, but they're certainly the smaller team in Manchester. They lay down for Man City. Like, do you know how weird that is? Like,
It's
we play
an odd thing to
Everton.
watch. Yeah.
Yeah, we play Everton,
odd.
and even if we're going to take 6 points from them, including Richarlison being like snarly and, you know, just like
Getting in there.
competitive and in our face, we have to fight for those 6 points. Even if we beat them 4-0, they leave it on us, you know. And whereas, like, Man, you just roll over for Man City and other teams, by the way. So the perception of these teams, Villa, everybody getting stronger, actually suits me, because, like, I don't mind if
Oh my
we
God,
pick
a
up
league
few
with
less
parity.
points.
Fuck.
Yeah,
It's better
like,
for the league. It's better for the competition. It's better for that top notch, that top position. Because I agree completely. I think that's you made complete sense there, and I think Spurs challenging you guys, and I do think there'll be I think there'll be points through the season. We'll be in a position based on the points that we've got where it'll be, oh man, could Spurs win the league? I'm not saying we will. I do think that the Liverpool and City are still better teams, but I think the conversation will be had, and I think
you've improved.
There'll be a massive level up, and that level up is going above Chelsea and being in that third position and starting to ask questions.
The biggest team in London.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And but I do think there's a trophy in the cards. I think Spurs will win something. You know, I think there'll be an FA Cup or a League Cup. But anyway, whatever. That's not what it's about. It's about the window. I want to quickly go to the because these are two other scenarios that could happen for Spurs. Depay is on a list, and specifically James Maddison. Now, I do think James Maddison, and I would argue that. And I'm sorry, it's too bad that the Bastoni or there's a couple other defenders that could fit into this rumored category, but Maddison being a number 10 fitting into that creative that just changes what we can do against teams that we normally struggle against to break down.
Does Conte play with a 10? Because
he doesn't play with a 10. He played what he did at Inter, but when they won the Serie A, is he played a 3-5-2. So he played 3 in the midfield, and he played 2 at a pivot, and then a third that was arguably you would call it a 10, but they were still like a bit deeper than your typical 10 would be, and it was a 1-2 in your top and your striker and your so the partner of that striker. So it was Lukaku and sorry, forgive me, the other striker at Inter at the time, but they would rotate between the two, so he would play in that top of that diamond in that midfield. Yeah. That's what we missed last season. We played 3-4-3 every fucking game the entire season, and when we came up against the teams that knew how to beat it, like the Brightons of the world and the Burnleys of the world, we'd struggle because we couldn't break them down. We didn't have a player to do it. This type of player, not Depay. Depay can fuck off. I don't care about Depay. But Maddison would be an absolutely brilliant signing. Maddison and a really good center half, because we still got 40 plus days left in the window, would make Spurs contenders. I think. I say contenders. I don't mean in this sense where I feel like we're better than everybody else, but the conversation starts to happen there because.
So who got? I'm confused. Sorry, Brian. I get your point. Who do you drop in your starting 11 for Maddison? I'm just trying to work that out in my head. It's not
necessarily a drop. It's more of a change of system. So if you're coming up against a team who sits deep and you're like, we need 3 players in the midfield, we need a creative midfielder. Instead of it being a 3-4-3, we're going to play a 3-5-2. So we're going to add a midfielder. And that midfielder is going to be the creative midfielder, which would be Maddison. We were looking at Eriksen previously, but that would be the idea, is that you have a player then that come like what Kane is kind of doing on his own. He sort of pulls back. Fuck you, Bobby. Love you, buddy.
Bobby's on form. I love it. Bobby, you're a legend.
Bobby's been hanging in the whole time, dude. Bobby, you get a medal, bro.
He's enjoying it. But yeah, but that's the point, is it changes a system that allows us to do something different that makes other teams not have the expectations that they've had, because teams got to know what we did and they're like, oh fuck, it's Spurs, they're going to play 3-4-3. If you do this, if you cut out the pass from the defense or from that defensive midfielder to Harry Kane, they got fuck all. And so you take Harry Kane into the game. Brighton did it with Basuma, made Harry Kane look like he was nothing. He didn't do anything. Burnley did it. Like, teams who sit deep and understand a system knew how to stop us. And when you add another player in the midfield and you change the system, that
I think it's a good point. I just want to be mindful of time now, like it is. Sure. We're getting there. Just to keep in mind here, boys, a great comment from Bobby. Bobby, thanks for staying with us. You sad son of a bitch. I love it. Who will be this season's biggest bust out of current transfers? I'm betting Nunez.
No.
Azaz, but we haven't hang on, we haven't finished. Hold it, Azaz. We'll keep that as we move on to the next.
It's going to be the fact that United won't get their fucking golden boy from Barca.
Man, if they don't get it, I can't.
Luke, are you going with this one now?
Oh yeah, I think I if he doesn't come, Ed, I've gotta say this is it. But for now, let's turn to the last team that we haven't covered. Small little.
I'll shut up now. This is my perfect time to let you guys rumble, and I'll make my comments as you go.
I love that. So obviously a small team in the Premier League. Also, one of the founding fathers of the actual Premier League. So thank you.
Hold on to it, are you?
Yeah, holding on to that.
European
And we also won the European Cup. So there it is. So yes, outs. Not a whole lot going on right now. There is a lot of rumors. Carney apparently demanding insane amounts. Apparently, there's rumors saying he's demanding.
Well, we'll get to the rumors one, dude.
We'll get to that. But right now, let's talk about the ins.
Trezeguet left.
He did actually. Yes,
but
he did. That was official
last season. So
no, but he kept us up. So I like he scored some massive goals.
he has that little bit.
He worked hard, and I'll give him that. But the ins, I don't know if this is all. Actually, hasn't Gilbert gone as well?
I was gonna say, are there any outs you guys could add to that we don't know about, or?
Yeah. Okay. So let's obviously talk about the ins. Let's talk the main one that we know. Obviously, Coutinho on an insane deal. If you think about it, 17, 18 million. Even if it doesn't work out, like it doesn't matter. Does
it's a lot. Not a lot of money spent, right?
Well, the craziest thing was it was supposed to be 33 million, and Villa basically said we won't pay that. If you want a payment before the end of June, before June's money books come up, we'll make this. And then they haggled, and it ended up being about 18.5 million pounds for Philip Coutinho because they wanted the money like within a week. And Villa were like, we'll pay it all up front for him.
Yeah.
So that's how he got him so cheap.
It was a fantastic deal. I think we saw glimpses of that fantastic player that he is, and he has been flying for Brazil. He's been playing absolutely insane. Alex, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. I think we've done some very good business as well. Let's move to my favorite bit of business, JP. I think you'd agree. Boubacar Kamara, unbelievable signing on a free transfer. I'm still shocked that Villa have managed to bring him in. We've seen him play preseason in one of the games. He literally looked like the player that we've all been screaming for. So, JP, very quickly, like Boubacar, you've watched him a little bit more than I have. For Villa, I know what he's like outside of Villa. I know how good he's been, but JP?
All right, so for me, Boubacar Kamara is the exact guy that we need. He's not the physical, I'm going to kick you, I'm going to win every head ball. As a holding mid, as a 6, he's I'm going to let you take a first touch, and then your touch is going to be just a little too much, and I nab it. I'm going to wait for you. I'm behind you. We saw this literally the other day against Leeds United. I'm behind you. You're running out our box. You're setting up for a shot, and when you take your touch for a shot, I'm stealing it. This guy is so smart. He's so
sorry. What position is he? Is he an 8?
He's the 6. He's the holding mid. And he's basically 2-footed. He can ping passes with both feet really well. Like his combo passes, the way he feints to move guys. It's really, really good with Boubacar Kamara. The fact that he's 22, he's just gotten a quick 5 caps for France over the last 6 months.
It's a good signing.
For
great signing.
He was Atletico Madrid really wanted him. Apparently, we paid him a lot more in wages, and I'll take that because
whatever. It's not your money. That's what I always say to people.
And the biggest thing was Villa fans had been screaming for 4 years that we need a legit holding mid who can dictate play, who can control the pace of the game,
100%.
Get the ball.
It is so necessary in the Premier League to have that type of player. If you don't, you're basically screwed.
Yeah, and for me, this isn't our backs holding the ball too much now where they're passing on the back. It's now our midfield has the ball. He's going to get it, and that's going to push us up because he's not going to lose it. And so for me, Boubacar Kamara is one of the signings of the season because he was free. And the quality.
It sounds like a quality player for you guys.
I can't wait.
He looks really good. And obviously moving on then, another humongous signing, quite literally, Diego Carlos coming in from Sevilla. Highly rated defender from La Liga. Had a great season for Sevilla. We paid a very high amount of money for a centre-back from La Liga.
Who's
that's what you want to do, though, man. You're investing.
Of course. Like,
Properly.
but you know, with risk comes reward. Hopefully, he looks like the player we needed. He is, and JP, you'll admit, he's an absolute unit. He's humongous.
6'1" and like 200 pounds. He
Yeah,
looks
he
like a
looks
legit
huge.
boxer. He is
Yeah.
built. He makes
Yeah,
me
he
look
doesn't look like
small.
he doesn't look small at all. But he's fantastic, and I think Villa are very excited to have. I think, you know, JP and I and constantly would go back and forth on defensive players, right? And we'd have the Mings and this and that. I think what we both admit was it doesn't matter whether it's Mings or Cons or whoever it was. The problem with any team when your back four looks weak, it's because they haven't got the confidence and they also haven't got the ability to look good. And what I mean by that is if 85% is being played against your back four, they will concede. So they didn't have that DM, they didn't have that holding midfielder, and that's what Villa fans are hoping, praying that Boubacar will do for us. But to have Carlos come in, and he will start. Now, it's just who's going to start. I think at this moment in time, it's probably going to be Mings and him. Fingers crossed that works really well. Konza's now back fit. Having him as a rotation, that's a really, really strong rotation as well. That could look really, really good. And I'm really excited. JP, I don't know if you want to add anything else, but
I think he is a great buy. He can play on either the left or the right center back. He played left center back, which is normally Ming's spot, but I think he's going to play on the right. But I also would love to see him start a few times on the left with Callum Chambers. I think Callum Chambers is a really good ball-playing center back from Arsenal that we picked up in January.
sure.
I think both of those guys are great. When you add in Luka Dean and Matty Cash, I'm really excited for this defense. It just this one signing kind of revamps it, and you put Kamara in front of it, and I feel like we now have a solid unit of a back five.
Are you guys worried about JP? Just sorry to interrupt, but are you guys worried a bit about depth in that scenario? Because if you lose, say, one of those players,
I mean, we have guys. So like we have a guy coming back from injury, Nakamba, who's a holding mid, but
I know, but like having a guy is different than having depth, right? Like,
yeah, we don't have that, but that's
not
because
yet,
we're not a top 6 team.
Yeah.
You know,
so just not yet. It doesn't mean you won't become that. I'm just curious, like how you're feeling about that sort of depth. Is it, you know, because you can see teams like this often in the case where the season starts. Well, Brentford, for instance, are a team that are healthy first 3-4 months, boom, everything's going well, and then boom, 2-3 injuries that are key and shit drops off. So
the only one I'm worried about is Boubacar.
Yeah.
No, I am. I definitely worried, right? But I think this season now Villa really have to show what they've been doing for the last couple of years, and while everyone else was having phenomenal big spends on big players, Villa have gone out and single-handedly bought pretty much every quality youth player in the main 2, 3, 4 leagues in the world. Like every really hot 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old has been purchased for sometimes insane amounts of money. Like Louis Barry was taken back from Barcelona. Like there was loads of players all over, right? And I think there's a couple of lads who started to show it. You know, Jacob Ramsey has become a solid player for Villa. He looks brilliant. He looks like what we lost in Grealish, right? Then you've got his brother who just had a phenomenal Carney. Carney's demanding a lot of money. I don't see him going right now. I think he can still be convinced, but maybe he will. JP, maybe he will, maybe no. But you know, regardless of that, we have players. Tim. Ibro Gubum or whatever, you know, we have a lot of very interesting players, and just the other guy listed there on the coming in was Frederic Gilbert. It will be interesting to see.
Back
you
from
talked
France.
about you talked about depth, Brian. It will be interesting to see what happens with Gilbert. I have a sneaky feeling he'll go out again. He'll be sold before. However, Gilbert was in the Ligue 1 Team of the Year. So our backup, our on loan right back was in the French League Team of the Year, and we've now signed there was a player who wasn't listed there, Augustinson. Yeah, we've got him on loan from another player from Sevilla. We've actually taken 2 of Sevilla's players, so it's very interesting. So we've brought them in now. The rumors are very interesting. So on the left here, I think is that Archer. I think by the looks of things.
No, that's Chukwuemeka.
Oh, okay, right.
So he's already a player, right?
So he's an 18-year-old. He just won the Euro with England? Is it the Euro?
Yeah, the Euro under 19.
And he was one of the top 3 standout players for England. Besides Chelsea and Man City, Villa have like the most U16 and U18 and U19 national team players right now that are playing consistently with England. The problem is he has 1 year left on his deal, and apparently he is demanding at least 40% of the games this season and £100,000 a week.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
That's what his agent is saying. But here's the other thing:
Fucking agents, man.
other podcasts try to look him up, and they can't find his agent, so they think it's a family member. Well, he's being
probably.
shopped around. There's kind of rumors. I don't know how supported they are. That Borussia Dortmund really like him. There is confirmed action with Barcelona that Barcelona want him, and apparently the Athletic posted that Villa are willing to sell him for $20 million for an 18-year-old who I think played honestly less than 180 minutes last season. He started one match at 18 years old, which is, he's
I think the only real option, I think the only real scare for me here is that he could go to a Dortmund, and that would be a great
scare
move
is
for
he
him.
goes for free. Fucking sell his ass. If he thinks he's too good,
Well, give him
sell
a free
his
and
ass
give him,
somewhere else.
see if we can sign something in. But
we
like,
can pay for Coutinho with him. Sell his ass.
I think one there is that's a very good point. On the right here, I don't know why Paul put there is JB. I've not heard anything, and 100% we're not going for Ross Barkley. So
later, Bobby.
No idea why that's
Bobby,
in there.
fuck you, buddy.
The only thing I will say is there is one player, if you both don't know, look him up, Cameron Archer. He has been on absolute form. I think he was the top goal scorer in the Euro under 19 that England just won.
Yeah, he had 4 goals in 5
when
matches.
he was on loan. Yeah, insane. When he was on loan in the Championship last year at Preston, he was for most of the time there, he was the top performing under 21 in any European league in the world.
Wow.
All this stuff has got to translate into Premier League, though.
Yeah, that's the problem.
No. Absolutely. But you talked about depth, right? Now you have a 21-year-old that is numbered at the bid to get it go. You've got strikers in Danny Ings, who let's see how he goes. Watkins, let's see how he goes. We've got this young lad who's desperate to get in. Then we have the Carneys. If we can keep him, he's desperate to go. We've got We've got the defense. I think we have some good guy.
You've improved, you'd say, right?
Our youth is coming good. Where we have a lot of young players.
Necessary though too, because you were pretty inconsistent under
top eight. Top eight is what we should be looking for this season. I think top 8 is where we should be and where we deserve to be. And if we don't get top 8,
I think Villa are one player away from being challenging for that 8th to 5th role. Hopefully,
do us a favor, just finish above Arsenal next season.
That's goals, man.
So I can laugh at them more.
Me and the guys argue all the time about we need another striker. We need another striker. I think it's another number 8, and I think he needs to be in that mold because we know we were after him. Of a who's the guy you guys got for Tottenham? Basuma, right? Villa put in a 35 million bid in January for Basuma, so we know we want someone like that.
Every team wants a player like that.
Is a good size, but he's not kind of tank. I kind of like that guy that's being linked with United that Paul is all about. But Villa need a bigger guy, a 6'1" ball player. Beast of a machine in the 8th, and I would love to see us spend kind of our record on that, a 40 million, 45 million on a top level 8 who will change us. And that to me is what we're missing.
Well, on that note, I mean, there's another player here that you probably don't even want to talk about. I mean, is that
he just said that?
No, we didn't. We completely because it's nonsense. He was.
I don't
know. He's a non-starter.
I haven't seen this rumor.
Last year.
I don't put
any.
Weight
in last year.
Yeah, I know.
I know. I literally never heard it, so I don't understand why Paul decided to put that in.
Yeah,
but then
I don't know.
what I expect
doing Paul things.
Quickly.
Yeah.
That 1 point before we go, one player each. I'm going to pick one of the United players.
Yeah,
just because fuck them. I think one of their signings, I think will not work out, or the whole team will not work out. So
yeah, I'm going to go with Nunez. I just think that he's not remotely as good as Liverpool are as a player. I think it's going to stand out, and I recognize that we've only seen him in preseason, but I just think it's just not going to be good enough. But having said that, he might not even be starting most of the time anyway. He could just be depth in a position that you need it for certain games. But yeah, I sort of agree with Bobby here.
I'm going to go with this new, very, very short player United buy that Paul said, if you buy an Ajax
Oh, the
player,
left-sided center half.
Yeah, he said, if you buy an Ajax player, you know you're getting a top quality player. They bought an Ajax guy. The same guy who's on the team with all these top players, and he doesn't play for them in Donny van de Beek. So I can't wait to see them buy more Ajax guys that don't work out.
Let's all hate on United while Paul and Connie aren't here, because that's a ton of fun.
They fucking
we can all agree on that, right? It's good times.
They got invited.
If I can just have 1 minute on the
Richarlison could be in that conversation for sure.
What I want to say about the Nunes thing is statistic, and I wish a United fan was on to listen to this next bit, because statistically Nunes is expected to fail because 80%, 8 out of the top 10 transfers are flops. And when I say flops, right? Jack Grealish, I'm only counting as a flop because he's 100 million. He's unproven at this point. But what I'm saying is in the top 10 Premier League transfers, only Van Dijk and arguably Kai Havertz are hits. Everybody else is a flop, right? So my thing is, Darwin Núñez is statistically expected to flop because half of them are Man United players anyway, and they're all flops. Pogba's a flop, Lukaku's a flop, Maguire's a flop. They're all flops.
Yeah. The whole team's a flop at the moment. It's great.
Yeah. So basically, I can understand why statistically Núñez would be considered to be the biggest flop, because he's a big name signing, he's a big transfer fee, and transfer fees incoming to Premier League teams, 8 out of 10 have flopped.
But I want to quickly add to that as before you finish, I think the thing about Liverpool too is because Liverpool are competing for that top spot and have competed at the highest level in Europe in the last 5 years or so, been one of the best teams in Europe. When a player comes in and flops in that scenario, it's much more obvious because you've seen it and you've seen the potential drop in quality, and that could have a massive effect on where you finish in the standings. Man United aren't finishing anywhere near anything that matters. So, if a player flops or another player flops, they're just going to finish 5th or 6th and we're all going to laugh at them anyway. Whereas if Núñez comes in and doesn't perform, then you've got issues where that potentially could affect where you finish in the league. I just had to throw in a little extra dig on United.
And the other thing about Núñez is we bought him on a 6-year contract, and Klopp he's thrown some people in straight away, Salah, Mane, but then there's also like Fabinho, Robertson.
Keita waited forever.
And he just lets them hang out and get to know so. When are we judging Núñez as a flop as well? Like, is it going to be like 6
you're not going to get another Luis Diaz,
man.
Luis Diaz was like a fucking anomaly, like a player
unbelievable,
like Kulusevski and Bentancur for Spurs last season in January. Players who came in and immediately bet in, and they didn't need any time. They didn't need it to learn English. They came in and they played well and they got just goals and assists. I don't think Núñez is going to do that, but you might be right. He might be lucky enough to be in the right squad to get away.
All right, we got to end it 20 seconds.
For the banter, I'm going to say Haaland, not because he's going to be a bust. But no. Let me finish.
Love the banter.
Not that he's going to be a bust, but like the guy's going to score 22 goals this season, right?
It's not going to be like 50 goals like JP thinks.
Yeah, Son scored 23. Salah scores 20 goals every season. So this second coming of like a 40 goal striker like prime Alan Shearer getting like 35 goals every season.
Kane's going to do that next season. I'll put my money on Kane going above 30 goals next season.
Haaland was cheaper than Núñez. What if Haaland gets more goals than Núñez?
No, he
doesn't matter.
We're talking about the money. We're talking about the money that you paid in one way. Everybody's on.
He's fishing, He's fishing. This is what he does. He does this all the time.
But Zaz is right. In fairness, JP, I know it was a fish, but like remember Haaland was on a buyout clause, so it's a totally different world. Like he was
different. What
prices are different and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something crazy like that.
Anyways, boys, I think we should
time to end it there. Time to end it there, boys. Yeah,
I'm fucking tired.
Fantastic show. Luke, thanks for staying up with us, mate. I know it's like pretty early in the morning for you at the moment where you are. JP, I know you're just about to go to the beach and have a good evening. Zaz, good to see you again. Been a pleasure, lads. Great chat. We're a little over 2 hours. Thanks for those in the comments, Bobby K in particular, for all your insight and good laughs. Been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you like and subscribe. This is a new channel. We're still trying to just grow it. So smash the like, smash the subscribe. and look for new videos. We're going to do a second version of this, or second half of this, in probably sometime mid-September before the window closes, to really decide who's had the best one. But yeah, JP, you're a shit disturber. It's what he does. We love him for it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Have a good one. Ciao.
Bye.
This is the North End.